Here we are.
Alrighty, welcome back to another White Boys with the podcast.
Yeah,
Very self-indulgent.
I have a
sure
feeling.
is.
I have a feeling it's gonna be less self-indulgent, more tired.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever necessary kind of warnings, you can just stop watching now if you don't want the fucking cliche bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're listening to part 3, you probably know what the
What
what the deal is.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're in my second home, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
One of a few. Lake Atitlan on top of San Pedro Volcano, which is how high exactly is it?
I think it's like 3,020,
20 or so
50, something like that.
meters. Fair enough. The clouds are already coming in, so we'll see how long we last.
Yeah.
But we have to recount since Venezuela, man.
Yeah. Since is it the Mirador? Is that where we did the podcast?
Yeah.
Or near there?
One of the first days at Roraima.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I guess shit. Yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah. I think highlights. My mind's going straight to the only relevant thing we did since then in Venezuela was hitchhiking.
Mm.
Oh. Yeah.
That was an interesting little
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Does anyone want to have a crack at describing?
Oh, and maybe also send your caca. That was a good moment.
Oh.
On the way
So,
down.
go for
I
it.
feel like you're
Yeah.
good to.
Self-incriminating
Yeah.
chat here, but yeah, the descent from Roraima was a bit of a stinker for me. So because it's a fragile kind of ecological zone, and there's a decent amount of tourists going up,
Yeah.
all your shit that you do, you have to put in a plastic bag and carry down with you. And actually, yeah, while we were recording the last podcast, I'd had a coffee, and afterwards had to make a quick exit and find a secluded plastic bag soiling location. This is really horrible chat.
I'm loving this
Yeah,
story.
it's a great filter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was like corn flour which you meant to put in the bag as well to mask the smell, and I like put some in, but you meant to put it in first. And
And you're also in such a rush.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, the bag was pretty stinky and had to carry it like 2 days down the mountain. And it's just
In direct sunlight. As
yeah,
well.
just every like 10 seconds my nostrils are just getting a little fucking twang, and I was getting really
just
self-conscious when
yours.
we were walking past other groups of hikers
So if you were behind
as
10,
well.
it was literally like
It's a death
being next to a
sentence.
porta potty at a
Yeah.
festival or something. It was
Worse,
ridiculous. And then we made a few there were a few other groups of hikers, and
Yeah.
we were friendly with a few of them. So if you're hiking, kind of going past them on their breaks or something, and Ted would just suddenly sprint like 30 meters.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
Yeah, or like when we stopped, I'd like put my bag down like 20 meters away or whatever. Yeah, so,
And it was visually like not appealing either because he put the corn flour on top. His shit was pressing against the bag. So if you were behind Ted, not only was it a sensory experience, but visually it was gross. So
Yeah, getting it.
yeah. So
just
hence
looking at
I,
shit.
hence I gave myself the apt nickname Senor Caca.
You wore it very well, the whole
Yeah.
Yeah.
scenario.
Well, and to be fair as well, I really leaned into it and took everyone else's poo on the last day as
Which
well.
didn't sting.
Mine and Tim's were both
Done properly.
done well.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
No, but so basically we decided to come down from the mountain a day early just because we kind of seen what we wanted to see and experience the
Yeah.
highlights, and we were aware that our time in Guyana was going to be limited, and it was such a mystery, and quite clearly, because of being such a mystery, probably one where we need a bit more time and energy to kind of
Yeah.
find the adventure.
Mm.
So we came down a day early on, what was it, the 9th of January. And
Yeah, traveling down on the 9th.
exactly. And then we
Yeah.
expected, because Venezuela, we probably said in the last pod, I don't think we'd waited at this point more than 3 cars passing us to catch a ride. And then we ended up back in San Francisco, the town. And yeah, it was 3 cars went past, and then a 4th, and then a 6th,
Yeah,
and then
so-
a 27th, and then
4 hours later.
Yeah.
So we expected to be back in Brazil, really, I mean, there was talk of even being in Guyana that day, which was wild, but because we had to wait so long for this hitchhike. But I think it was a well worth it wait.
Well, it was earned by Ted and I.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Zav walked off and was having beers and
I
chatting to.
used my great skills to great effect, sorry.
Nothing to do with hitchhiking.
Nothing to do with hitchhiking, but
To do with
nonetheless,
you getting a beer and having a good time while Ted
oh
and I
yeah,
was flogging
sipping
it in
on
the sun on the side of the
sipping
road.
on beers, meeting Argentinians, meeting Venezuelans.
Which are all
It's
going in
great.
the exact opposite direction.
But it's traveling, and then these guys put in the hard work. I reckon I rock up to actually start hitchhiking. Within 10 minutes, we're in the back of a refugee truck
Ludicrous.
going straight to Brazil.
I think that was the best hitchhike I've ever.
And that was the
like,
beach
most
hike. Yeah.
just stereotypical, archetypal hitchhike
Mm.
scenario.
Yeah, like beautiful scenery in the background as the sun's setting, with like pretty rough ride as well in the back of this. Yeah, like Sad said, refugee carrying truck.
Yeah.
In Venezuela.
Refugee materials.
Yeah, like
I mean,
having
gas
to
cans
unload.
and
Fucking,
hammocks, like literally
Yeah.
a woman sleeping in the
You know what was
hammock.
great? Like the truck was like big enough and like there was so much shit in there. You didn't actually know how many people were in there. Like people
No.
were in corners and crevices of this place and like we just joined the
Yeah. I feel like it was as
Join
close
the herd.
to those freight train stories you have, Ted, as you could get on roads. rather
yeah,
than
I
rail.
reckon. 100%.
So that was that, and then we rock up to the not exactly border, about 20 minutes, the main town, 20 minutes from the border of Venezuela, in Venezuela still, called Santa Elena, which we're big fans of.
Yeah. And this is the 9th?
This is the night of the 9th, and we stayed at our good mate NPC's
NPC.
place,
Yep.
and ended up having pizzas that night, which
Oh
was
yeah. Which
real-
were awesome pizzas.
really good. Again,
Yeah, for South America, like
South America, when you have anything that's not South American, when you have even bread, it's
Yeah,
shit. When
yeah.
you have pizza, it's trash bread, trash cheese. I mean, anything Chinese food, you probably get food poisoning from.
Yeah.
Yet Venezuela was just, the Chinese food apparently is amazing.
Mm.
The pizzas was amazing. Like, everything's going off.
I mean, I haven't been to heaps of places around South America and Central America and all that kind of stuff, but Venezuelan food was incredible in my eyes. I think
Mm.
everything was
Yeah,
cooked.
not a
Every
bad
meal we
taste.
got was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a bad meal actually.
Especially tuna mayo.
That was very Venezuelan. That was.
Yeah. So, well, we
Um,
stayed in his place
yeah.
that night, and I was a bit nervous about getting to the border hitchhiking because we had such a tough time the day before.
Mm.
But then he was going to the border first thing in the morning. So like,
Yep.
sweet, hop in the back of the troopy with him.
Yep.
We get to the border, nice, not rushed, but nice cruisy morning.
Yeah.
And then we rock up the border. We cross it at about 9 a.m. And then we're rolling
We
down.
left at 9 a.m. We got there at 9:30.
Yeah.
Right.
We say hi to the border agent, Carolina, that I knew.
Oh, she loved you.
Yeah, she fucking rocked it. And then
Yeah.
And then all is sweet. We have a few tasks and errands to run around Pacarama. We're back on the acais.
Yeah.
Got some great Brazilian meat. Little do we know that this was the same date of the inauguration, supposed inauguration of the guy who actually won the Venezuelan presidency.
Mm.
But of course, Maduro.
We did know this.
We exactly
Yeah,
we knew
We know
this.
that was
so-
happening, but we didn't know what
But everyone
the
had said
actual
it wasn't going
consequences
to
of
be
that
too
were
bad.
going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we kind of were a bit willy nilly and didn't really think and consider it too much.
Mm.
But an hour after we crossed, there were Venezuelan soldiers on that border for the next
Yeah.
3 days.
and it
And
was
we
closed.
so we're essentially we're in is a group taxi or a collectivo on the way back to Boa Vista, and in that collectivo we're looking over someone's shoulder and we see in their Instagram stories that the border's been closed, and not only has that border been closed, we got so lucky because all the other border closed surrounding the whole country before 9 a.m. at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
The only border that stayed open past 9:30 was ours.
Yeah.
So we really got out of Venezuela with an hour to spare.
Literally. Yeah.
And I mean, in hindsight now, like the border was only closed for 3 days before it reopened. So,
Which still would have thrown a huge spanner in our...
I mean,
We would have had fun time in Venezuela.
yeah,
probably.
it just like it's not like we would have been in like grave danger or anything.
No.
But this would have, spoiled our
We had some
Guyana
Pocahontas
plans.
river parties to go to.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then the next chapter turned over.
So
Yeah.
then we're in Boa Vista.
Boa Vista.
And I mean, I'll throw myself under the bus this time. we go to the bus stop.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
And we're looking for, so just geography wise, if you're watching or listening, like you got Venezuela, to the right, to the east is Guyana, and then to the bottom is Brazil. So you kind of had to go through Brazil, this town Boa Vista, because there's no direct borders between Venezuela and Guyana.
Yeah.
So we keep on having this central kind of point at the bottom of this triangle.
Mm.
Now, we caught this like shared taxi service from the Venezuelan border to Boa Vista again, and then we're trying to get a bus from Boa Vista to a town called Bonfim, which is the last town in Brazil going into Guyana. Now, we went to the bus station, and that bus service is no longer running for whatever reason. There's not enough business or whatever. We ask a taxi, and he wants to charge something ludicrous. I think it was 150 Aussie dollars or something from memory.
Each or something.
Yeah, each. Something like
500 real or something.
Something like this. It was too much.
Yeah.
But Brazilian hitchhiking had,
$100, that's it.
at that point, failed.
Oh,
They
yeah.
caught a ride in Brazil.
We're struggling with Brazilian hitchhiking.
So we were like, okay, let's go to the petrol station. Like
change our approach a bit, I guess, with the hitchhiking.
Exactly.
Like, approach people while they're filling up their tanks and actually get to ask them rather than just on the hoping they'll stop.
Hoping they stop. Because apparently, like, what we later find out was in Brazil, there's just a huge reputation for people stopping cars and then robbing them. Whatever. So for whatever reason, because we'd gone this roundabout a lot of times at this point to this same bus station, and I kept on seeing this Guyana arrow sign. So just confidence, just like, oh yeah, it's down this road. Yeah. So we walk kind of 2Ks or something.
Maybe more.
Through the heat, past all these Venezuelan refugees and all sorts of stuff going on. We bless you, and land in this petrol station. And just because for context, most of the traffic in a city is going internally, so you want to get to the edge. As we're rolling up to the petrol station, literally 100 meters away, I'm in my head like, well, I know I technically didn't check that. So I've kind of, insurance policy wise, I should probably just make sure, like, before we actually get there. Yeah. Way too late in the piece.
So to recap from my and Ted's perspective, Tim doesn't just check, he says he needs to now triple check without never having checked. Checks and realizes that we've gone completely the wrong way for the past half an hour, and we're all pissed and we're super tired. So no other way.
Now I think the
consolation,
the phrase, what is it, of this whole trip has been the side mission is the mission.
Side mission is the mission.
And lo and behold, this particular petrol station had an acai little restaurant.
We already had 3 acais that day, or 2 acais that day. It was so acai.
Oh, yeah, you can't have too much. We're in Brazil only once.
Yeah.
This is our last day in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I think it was worth it. We went to this place. There were about 30 staff behind the service, but none of them could take your order.
8-year-old kid as well.
8-year-old kid, full uniform. Yet they didn't take your order. They require you to use kind of one of those, like the screen set up, and you have to order like at Macca's.
Yeah.
Yet that was lagging and glitching as well.
It's funny.
It was a ludicrous spot. I very much enjoyed mine. You guys got some weird ice cream fruit bowls that were disgustingly sweet.
I just tried everything.
But what that did allow is us to be on Wi-Fi, catch an Uber to the actual petrol station on the edge of town, which we did want to go to, which, to be fair,
would have been a 5K walk.
Longer. I think it was like 7 or something.
Yeah.
Right? And we would have struggled to get there. Actually got there slower in the total time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon it was all good and well. All was well that ends well.
Classic Tim mentality.
Exactly.
Right, self-righteous.
Okay, Ted was definitely not happy at this point as well.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, it was more just like the lack of apology and trying to justify that it was the best thing to do anyway.
Absolutely leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sales dog.
Terrible. Yeah. Look, we moved on, right? And then we're at the petrol station, making a sign for Boa Vista. And this was I felt like this was a very well 3-pronged approach to hitchhiking. We had one person checking all the cars and then asking each car that pulled over. We had one person on the side of the road hanging the thing, one person minding the bag / getting any unexpected cars that might have filtered through. So
I think on the Wi-Fi of the petrol station, WhatsApping about.
You were doing that for a bit.
Prices.
Yeah, I was trying to organise a taxi thing, which was interesting as well.
So at this point, we're a very efficient team, I think.
It was later in the day.
Yeah.
It's like
We
4
needed to get
o'clock.
this ride.
Yeah.
We needed to get this ride. And then I think Ted was holding the sign out the front. So I felt like that was the nudge. So there's some guy that pulls over, right? And I feel like Ted gave him the first nudge to him transacting in this hitchhiking approach. And then I go over, start talking to him, and he seems very standoffish.
He
So I'm
wasn't
like,
getting petrol either. He was getting air.
he was just getting air for his tires. So he clearly needed some chatting and he needed some assurance. So then Tim came along and spoke to him, and somehow we're now in this guy's car. He accepted us. So we're feel like on cloud 9 here, because it's so hard to get a Brazilian hitchhike. And it just turns out, the reason why he was so on guard is because he's a police officer and he knows that there's lots of robberies that happen of cars, and he really didn't want to lose his Hilux.
Didn't have his gun.
Yeah.
And he didn't have his gun. Damn. So sad
No
about
insurance
that for him.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we're in this kind of I guess a bit not uptight, but I feel like he's a bit closed, and I felt like we were good for him to just open that up a little bit.
Kind of guy who's never considered doing this kind of thing.
No.
Ever in his life,
No.
But because of this,
Probably also
multiple
hasn't had the opportunity to even think about it. I doubt there's many people hitchhiking.
True.
But
But
that
he's just-
kind of
yeah.
thing, whether it's someone inviting to dance or whatever context, that kind of vibe.
But yeah, I feel like that leap helped. I feel like he was just a generous person deep down, so that leap helped him
Well, yeah, and then we
enact his generosity.
pulled over at a little roadside stop.
What
She
did
was
he want?
keen to.
What? Oh,
'Cause he pulled over
oh
to
my
a stop.
god! Pull over to another stop, and none other to get a sigh again.
Yes.
So I reckon Tim at that day was at 5 assis,
That was interesting as well. He was saying how they eat acai with fish and stuff in some
depending
areas
where you're
around
from.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a good one as well. It was organic, real raw, and then he added so much sugar to it.
so much
Holy
sugar.
crap.
Yeah,
And they had a fucking arapaima just swimming out the back in a little pond, which was crazy, which is the world's biggest
Fish,
freshwater
yeah.
fish.
it's cool.
So that was cool.
Oh, and just add it, I feel like this hasn't got a mention, but baby milk needs a bit of a mention, because I thought it was almost revolutionary us bringing baby milk on the hike as a milk supplement, because it's just so dense in all the nutrients it has.
And minerals
But
added to it. And
In all these places in freaking Brazil, they've got, and at this place, they had baby milk there so that you could put with your acai,
they're
the
loving
powder. So I feel like we're really slow to the curve in Australia on the baby milk instead of using the powder milk. But anyways, I really wanted to give that a highlight.
Then again, normal milk, cold, refrigerated, fresh, full cream milk, is not so much of a thing here. It's always long life.
Right.
So their standards for dairy products are very low. And
Saying my standards are pretty low.
well, then maybe the baby milk is kind of an artificially created equivalent to just what we have as normal bloody full cream milk.
Probably. But anyways,
Yeah.
so shout out baby cream.
I think at this
Baby
point, we'll keep on going. We'll keep on recounting, but So we get to Bonfim. That was quite a nice place after dark.
Yep.
I had a few looking around different possible places to stay. Landed on, a hotel-y thing, motel, nice motel. Went out for a big feed. I ended up getting on an electric scooter, asking locals uncomfortable questions.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, a few just funny little things, tidbits, nothing crazy.
Just to mention, Bonfim seems like the workout capital of Brazil. There were just so many gyms. Anyways,
Yeah, that was
had
interesting.
to
Yeah.
say that too.
Brazil in general is a lot more switched on to exercise than anyone else.
Yeah.
I think.
And yeah, it was probably worth mentioning as well. One of the hotels we went to was fully booked out, that we thought would be pretty easy to find a room.
Oh, yeah.
And we started getting the sense, we heard that a lot of people come here to do shopping, buy wholesale stuff that's come through Guyana, because that's the nearest port to this part of Brazil, and buy this cheap Chinese imported goods.
Because there's the port, all the cheap Chinese goods that the whole world knows and has an interesting relationship with.
Yeah, and so apparently people are driving hours, and probably 12 hours from other parts of Brazil to
It's
get to
north
this
side.
like little armpit town, but by all other seems.
Yeah.
That's right, because the police officer who we caught a ride with, he had this ute.
Electric scooter train.
Exactly. So he was
Yeah.
actually going to the border to buy at a 5 per time, because that's how many he'd fit in his tray.
Yeah.
Electric bicycles
Mm-hmm.
that he'd on sell back in Boa Vista
Yeah.
and make a pretty profit.
3,000 Oz or
He'd
something
make
like
3,000 reais, so he'd make, what's that, 750 Oz for doing that trip.
It's good.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, that was one of the very same scooters that Tim was joyriding on
Exactly.
that evening from
So
random
good.
people we met on the street.
So good.
yeah, so then that happens, and now it's Mission Guyana next day, and we're itching at the seams to get into this place and check out this, what feels like such an unknown, at least to us, territory. And I just feel like as soon as we get to the border, or as soon as we got that first ride, it just wasn't what I was expecting.
What were you expecting?
There was zero expectations. I was just thinking, like, in my mind, heaps of forest, right? And then Africans that spoke English, but didn't sound Caribbean. So
Yeah,
I wasn't thinking Caribbeans. I was
Oh,
thinking,
really?
no, because
I thought we told you that.
probably, but I live in my own world, right? So, and then we're going through Guyana, and we're at the border, and they're wearing like these really regal outfits, and the girls have like the hair that's, like a press down and on, and
Classic.
I'm like, whoa, like, this is interesting. And we're walking through the border, and we're walking through into the town, and we get to a town called Lethem. And,
Fuck, I hate Lethem.
and it sucked. It's just like probably worst town of the trip.
Well, it looks like a lot of the suburbs of this place, and it wasn't huge, but there were suburbs, and there's a bit of an African vibe. The geography of this whole region was savanna, literally. So it looked like you were in Africa. Similar, poor houses with obviously a bit of money flying around from however where. So it's, a pink brick house or whatever it is. But then this main strip was just full of these huge warehouse-sized buildings.
Yeah.
One or two of them being a grocery shop, but the others being bloody full of just Chinese crap. It was like going to Temu.
Yeah.
What's it called? Alibaba. But in real life, in the savannah, in bloody Guyana.
And
Very strange.
It's just like these dirt roads. It was just pounding heat. Like, it wasn't too hot, actually. Like, it was probably 33 degrees or something along those lines. But it just felt soul-sucking. I don't know if you guys got that.
I think
I think that was a good coinage. Like, it really felt like a Temu, like, main street.
Yeah.
And it's really weird to me. It's always weird to me in Guatemala, for instance, especially Guatemala City, where you get the sense that this place and the people in it, to at least a significant degree, I always felt, want to be American. They love the idea of a spick and span mall, white tiles and chandeliers and fancy restaurants that aren't good restaurants. They just look fancy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of shit food overpriced.
Mm.
Here, it wasn't even aiming for that, like, shiny American top thing.
No.
It was aiming for Chinese Alibaba goods. So you had these Brazilians coming from Boa Vista.
Yeah.
They're like taking photos in front of the sign, "I love Guyana."
Yeah.
And rocking around in their sunnies. But it was a weird form of consumerism, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Zav bought into it. Bought some shiny golden Oakleys for
We'll come up later.
Hectic glasses.
Yeah.
like equivalent of like $2 Aussie or something.
Yeah. Well worth that spend.
But Guyana's also not cheap.
And that's something I realized as well, something I didn't expect at all. Like, I'd heard that it was expensive, but it was like Australian prices expensive. And it was especially for transport. Transport was so expensive. So
by nature of just the infrastructure of the country as well, it's a really interesting case study and by the time this episode releases, I think both Josie and Ashley's will have released, and then we get way more into it. But the country is just literally the last 3 years, it's the fastest growing economy in the world. So going from one of the poorest countries in a poor continent to so the roads are very minimal. There's one arterial highway going from this Lethem border town straight to Georgetown on the coast, the capital city, in which 90% of the population resides. So you essentially, by all, intents and purposes, have one road in the country.
Yeah, and like
And
it's
even
one-
that is just dirt. I mean, it's not just a
Yeah.
dirt road, it is pothole stricken,
Yeah.
just crazy
Yeah.
bad.
And yeah, most of the roads in the Alpine region in Australia are better roads.
Way
Like,
better. Yeah.
and even if they're dirt roads, like this was just like bumpy.
Yeah, it was interesting, like with it being the fastest growing economy, like you get the sense, even though that's true, it's growing from such a place of poverty that, like, after only a few years, it's still like a long way off what you'd expect, like a really kind of oil-rich country to look like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
It's like probably like going to Dubai in I don't know the years, so I apologize, but say they hit oil in 1990 and then you're there in 1994.
Yeah,
It's like, okay,
and they're still building.
they
still.
were a fishing village in the desert, right? And 30, 40 years later, they're going to be, crazy. But right now, it's only a few years in.
Yep.
And it will be very fascinating to kind of follow the story of that country.
Because you can't just start building. You need to start building the infrastructure.
And
You
the
need to
people.
have the road so that you can transport the goods to get things. Yeah, and the people, and they've only got a population of 800,000. So yeah, there's a bit of time to see that growth occur.
All right. So what was our goal in Guyana?
This is another Tim special. This.
yeah, it was a pretty clear intention. Was to go to some remote villages, and I guess benefit from the fact that Guyana is an English-speaking country.
Yep.
To be able to connect and communicate and like see the very different way of life, of people. I suppose in our mind we had living in the rainforest, like a kind of Amazon village with English speakers.
Mm.
And that took an interesting turn.
So you keep going.
Yeah, so we got to the edge of Lethem and we were very keen to never go back there again, which we later did quite a lot of times. And we found a little like perfect hitchhiking spot. Like Tim was saying, it was like savannah, like how you'd imagine. I mean, I've never been there, but how I'd imagine kind of like the Serengeti in Africa or something like that. It's like really hot, dry heat during the middle of the day. So found this little shady place that was a lifesaver for hitchhiking and probably would have given up pretty quickly otherwise.
Yeah.
Caught the bus.
But nonetheless, we've got our thumb out for maybe 45 minutes, maybe 60 an hour, but only 3 cars passed or 4 cars passed.
Yeah, and it was very dusty as well.
Super dusty. But I feel like that Venezuelan spirit
That's
carried
right.
into Guyana.
Every single one stopped. didn't they?
So we had a conversation, like even if you weren't catching the fish, you were chatting with the fish.
You were
like
getting
we
bites.
We were getting so many bites. So people stopping over. And then someone stops over and we're heading to a village called Yupukari.
No.
Or we're heading to a village called...
That's classic.
proves the point.
We're
Vindication
we
right
have
there.
a village called Kupakari.
So for
Right.
context, again, there's one road. It should act as a
One
highway.
main road.
One main road through the whole country. Lethem, right inland on the border with Brazil, all the way to Georgetown on the coast, which is where our flight is in about a week's time.
Yeah.
Right? Now, halfway along that is a river that has no
Essequibo.
bridge. Yeah, the Essequibo. It has no
Yeah.
bridge, so it has a car ferry. So we were thinking, that's going to be a good spot because it's on the main road. We can go there. Then we can maybe, I think Ted had looked on the maps and seen a few villages maybe down or upstream along that big Essequibo River, right? So it's like we get there, we're kind of in the halfway to Georgetown already, right? And then we can detour along that river to some really awesome village, stay there for 5 days or something, come back and keep on going on the highway and never have to see Lethem again.
We're winning.
Yeah.
But
So that town was called Kurupakari.
So that's Kurupakari.
Yeah.
We've got our thumbs out, right? And someone stops over and we're having a chat. Or Tim's having a chat. And Tim's like, where are you going? And they say, quite clearly, Yupukari. And Tim's like, fuck yeah, that's where we're going. Everyone get in.
Because he basically said stop. He stopped. And a lot of people with hitchhiking are like, they're very nice. They stop and they're like, oh, I'm just going up the street. so I can't take you. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, you don't want to. You don't want this ride.
Mm.
And he had a very similar vibe to him. It's like, oh, I'm going to Yupukari. Like, and I was like, no way, that's where we're going.
That's exactly the town. And I was like, whoa. I kind of like the exact town we went. We can become friends with him, whatever.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. We're in this car, and it's like super.
Not a car.
Oh, we're in a truck. Sorry,
Flatbed.
with a flat like steel sheet that we're kind of sitting on at the back.
Had a couch at the front with a family.
Had a couch at the front
already
with the
hitched
family already on it, and we're just
And
like
gas
going on a
drums
super bumpy road.
up.
Like this is, and this is so split discable. Like it's just bang,
Oh,
bang,
shit.
bang. But we've managed to find comfort. I think I got some shut eye as well in the end. It was great.
Well, it's worth mentioning as well. Like, there is this, like we've mentioned a lot of times now. Yeah, that's a cool little
Bumblebee.
bump. Yeah.
This is cooked right now as well, isn't it? Full white out.
Yeah.
I'm glad we
Well,
recorded.
we got
when
the,
we could
and I'm
get
glad we got the
view.
view.
Yeah, at the very start.
Yeah.
Interesting being up here in a storm.
Nah, the storm and stuff is usually over there.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
But yeah, like pretty soon, like I reckon we drive maybe like 10 Ks down the road, this one main highway, when we turn off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like at this point, like there's one way to get, one very obvious way to get to where we think we're going, and we've now diverted onto like an even more kind of bumpy and windy
Dirt road.
Mm.
But you had an interesting thing. You were talking to that family on the couch.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was talking to the family, and my impression was that we were going to drop off some stuff in some villages off the highway and then get back on
That's what I thought
the
too.
main road,
Yeah.
because there was like
yeah.
all the random supplies. But we just kept on getting, like, I was looking at like Maps.me on my phone. We're just getting further and further away.
We are kind of going somewhat parallel to it. but
Yeah.
It's like a 20
but-
degree.
And in the end, that did nothing
Yeah.
for us.
No.
We could have gone the opposite way. It would have been
Yeah,
the same
it's true.
shit. Anyways,
But yeah, we then eventually realized we're going to this town called Yupukari.
not Kupukari,
Not Kurupakari.
Kurupakari. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't know how you made that mistake. Idiot, they speak English, mate.
I'm glad like everyone has made that mistake.
Yeah,
in just
yeah.
saying shit normally like
But
10 times.
again, side mission is the mission.
Yeah.
We go to the wrong place, and it
Well,
ends up actually being the right place.
It took us a while to realize it was going to be in the right place, though.
yeah.
'Cause we arrived in town, and it's like I called it a bit of a crash landing. Like we just get dropped off at the one eco lodge they have, which was like really expensive.
So, I mean, let's paint this picture. We get dropped off at the Eco Lodge, and the person that's running it is frantic at that point. She's going to the village wedding
Of her brother.
of her brother, right? So she's like, she doesn't know what to do with us
You're
because
invited.
you're just invited. We're like, okay, great. And we're all devoid of energy, like slumped on this couch, right, in the main thing. We all like take turns having showers. Super stinky by that point, like hardly any of our clothes have been washed. And we make our way to this wedding. I'm a bit self-conscious. I look like an absolute hobo going to this wedding.
Yeah, we were wearing thongs. I was like, hang on, is that?
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. And then we get there, and this is when my heart drops. Because this wedding was, again, it felt like the soul was sucked out of the wedding. Like, I've never seen a bride and groom further apart of each other. You know, like, it
Just looked
felt
like-
like God was sitting in the middle and they were separated.
Yeah, they were being held ransom by like Christianity. It seemed like.
Well, not Christianity, this weird version of Guyanese village Christianity. It was wild. It was wild.
and again, if that interests you at all, last episode with Ash, because it turned out that was like the most boring part because the pastor was there.
Right.
So for one, there's 3 denominations of Christianity in this village. It turned out, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the denomination they followed and wanted to like have their wedding going under was you can't drink,
Yeah.
especially at the wedding. So it was like no alcohol. Plus the pastor was in town and he'd come from ages away, probably Lethem or something. So they're all like really well
Good
behaved.
behaviour.
Like we're puritanical Christians right now.
Yeah.
And we were there for an hour or two and we ate some really nice food, to be honest. But yeah, it was a very strange vibe.
Like we tried to start conversations with people, and people were just quite shy and standoffish and
Classic.
It wasn't even shut.
Yeah.
Like, we're just getting like straight blanked. Like, I've had better conversations with cardboard. Like, I was chatting to these people, like, hi, hello, like, what? Like, say something. Like, how are you going? Like, you speak English. Like, I felt better speaking Spanish to Venezuelans than I did speaking English to Guyanese people. To start off with, at least.
Yeah. Turns out that like a few hours later, the pastor went home, and then some beers came out, and like
Yeah,
went dancing till 1 or 2 a.m.
But by that point, we'd already left. We'd drunk our Kool-Aid.
We were wrecked.
We were wrecked, so we'd gone.
Oh, that was also funny. We literally
and we were just thinking, like, what's the point in us staying here if people are just look like they're enjoying themselves? Like,
we also were drinking Kool-Aid in Guyana, which I found hilarious.
So why is that hilarious?
Because Jonestown
Yeah.
cult, biggest mass suicide ever, drinking Kool-Aid with, I think, cyanide in it anyway.
Yeah.
So
We're doing that. And then, I mean, another point to leave that wedding was we were walking around and we saw the bride and the groom just going home.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we're not going to stick around.
Yeah.
So we go for a walk around town, scope it out, go to the river, then back to the eco lodge. And that's when the manager pulls up again, right? And we don't know how much this is going to be.
Yeah.
but we get the vibe off the place. It's really nice.
It's not,
And again,
it
this
could
is
be
no
expensive.
tourist, like-
There's no tourists.
I mean, I've stayed in way back when I was in the Amazon. There was a similar eco lodge where you had to fly into it, and like very similar setup. And yeah,
How much was it there?
I don't know the cost, right? Because they let me stay for one night on my way to the village I was volunteering at.
Yeah.
But it's designed for like Silicon Valley dudes to go there for a week and take ayahuasca. Similarly, this is designed for, you know, retired people with shit tons of money to go and see a jaguar or something.
Yeah. So we get there and we're talking to the manager and she's like, yeah, 140 US a night. And we're like, what? 140 US? That ain't happening.
Yeah. We're like, we can just sleep on the couch here.
We were like 10 Tim's blood on. What if we just fall asleep on the couch
I was like,
before she comes?
I was so dog tired, and the couch was really comfortable. I was like, if we just fall asleep on the couch in the lobby here, is she gonna wake us up or do we
Charge
just-
us?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Why didn't we do that?
We were in the
literally-
process and she literally came in like,
Yeah, we're
"Ah,
literally
it's
getting
after
ready to fall asleep.
that." And I'm like, I felt so bad.
Should have
Like,
just
we have to talk.
fake fell asleep,
Yeah.
play dead.
So she's there, we're talking, and then it's 140 US, and we're like, no, like, what other And no, Tim goes, look, we're happy to just sleep here. Can we just sleep on these couches? She's like, on the couch, and we're like, yeah. She's like, no, like,
But we have hammocks.
what are the other options? We have hammocks. We'll just sleep in one of those, and that's not a thing. Like, no one goes there to sleep on hammocks. So she gave it to us for I think 5,000 a night,
25 US.
which is 25 US. So
Not bad considering.
not bad.
Like,
But
it's expensive for what it is.
It's a
But
hammock.
we've done well to
Yeah.
get that down from.
She just pulled that
140
number
US.
out of her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the good thing was, I didn't feel too guilty this whole time because it's not her place.
Yeah.
It's some kind of foreign-owned cooperative thing. So it wasn't like we're talking to the owner, like, we don't value your prices and whatnot. Because I always hate that. Right?
Yeah.
That
Well, we
wasn't
did
the vibe at
value,
all.
like, there is a value for what they were doing. It's just, we're not in the market for that.
Yeah.
That's not
'Cause
the
we
kind of travel that we want to be
quite
doing.
accidentally stumbled upon this and
Yeah.
this is the only option.
Um,
I just want to, before we keep on moving on, because I think this is a bit of a theme at this point of the trip, just like those few days leading up to here. Like, the dynamics of, I think we must have discussed it as well, the dynamics of the group. Now, when you're traveling together, obviously all sorts of tensions and pressures and highs and lows. But these few days, there was like Venezuela and we missed it by an hour. And then like, you know, the hitchhiking thing. And especially, I didn't feel attacked or anything. Like that's not where I'm trying to take it. But like the fucking get in the wrong place and then get into the wrong place in the village. Like,
yeah.
I feel like this was probably that night and maybe the next morning was like the peak of like, not hating each other, but like there was a bit of tension.
Yeah, I was pissed off for sure.
Ted was definitely like passive aggressive as fuck.
Yeah,
Right.
I was like, fuck, this is like not the village that we wanted to get in. But at the same time, I was grappling with the fact in my head that like I was probably just having this like dream village in my mind, and there's a good chance that wherever we went in Guyana, at least with the amount of time we had where we couldn't send it up the river for like a week, that we were going to end up in a similar place.
Yeah, I definitely saw. As the person who led us there, I was like, well, no, I just need to sell this shit now.
Okay.
But I definitely saw in you like that struggle of like dealing with expectation versus reality.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it was interesting. How did that
And I guess
go?
it was easy to blame like you because
Right,
you
exactly. And
fucked
then
up
you
the
can,
hitchhike.
and you were doing well not to. Like, not that I wasn't slipping out here
Yeah,
and there,
yeah.
but like you were doing well not to. I was just enjoying observing it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I didn't really feel that from you. Oh, maybe
I feel like I would have felt it.
right. Yeah, of course.
No, and then like the
True.
next morning we were like walking around. We went to like a church service in the town.
But this is
we were
okay.
pretty bored.
No, no offense to any Christians out there, but this is quite literally the bottom of the barrel of the trip because this church
I
service.
quite enjoyed it. I read the
I was
two
reading-
books of Timothy, which I'd never read.
I was so out of the church service and into reading the Bible again that the guy had to like stop the service to tell me to sit down. I missed the memo because I just read.
You got it for a hymn that we didn't have the hymn book for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I don't know, half of this service I was just like looking out the window thinking like how the fuck are we gonna salvage like a good time out of this place? And I just saw there was like a construction site next to the church and there was some like workers in there and I just thought these guys look pretty local. They look like the kind of guys that would, I don't know, go fishing and know how to enjoy this place for what it is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we made a beeline for them.
So we're in the church, right? And God shines His light to Ted on this building.
But even before the church, we had tried to talk to a few locals.
We'd started
I
talking to
mean,
a few locals.
Because our idea in our head is we need to make a local. We just need one.
Yeah.
The ultimate hitchhike in a sense of like a
Yeah.
local who can kind of take us under their wing, maybe give us a cheap place to sleep and take us fishing and stuff. That was in our head.
That was mission of the day was make friends.
And we weren't doing too well. And
And I think we were going to say
We met
if-
Brian at that point, I think.
yeah, the shop owner, and we met David Thomas, this old.
I think some people were saying like there's some guy called Rambo who has a boat. And,
Yeah.
But Rambo was the one that was working for the Eco Lodge.
Right,
So
exactly.
it was like,
Whoever could help us is also going to charge us Eco Lodge prices
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And whoever couldn't help us is like a normal villager. It was definitely like, I think I recounted it on the Rio episode, like maybe a bit of time in the Amazon.
yeah,
And it was really applying it was really special, like applying a lot of context for that because I hadn't been in that village in the middle of nowhere, huge cultural gap environment since. And it was really cool for also you guys to see that vibe of like life out here is so easy to be perceived as simple and boring as anything.
yeah. It really felt like we got given the blank canvas and like there was a lot of colouring in to do for the first time. There were no lines. There were no, you couldn't colour in the borders. Like we were making this picture. So again, we're in this church service. God shines His light on the door next to him to Ted. And we're like leaving at that point. Ted's like,
In the
let's
darkest
go.
dark, here's the lightest of light.
And Ted goes, let's go over to that building. I've seen some people in there. I'm like, okay. So we go make those friends and we start talking to the engineer for a bit. And it's like the first like decent chat I felt like we had.
Because he wasn't from there. He was a contractor
Yep.
managing his construction project. He was just banging on about Guyana and how they're getting rich, but the inflation's making it so the average person doesn't feel that at all. It's just a good chat, very monologue-y, like,
Yeah. But
there was obviously some
good.
kind of like cultural
Passion.
similarity
Exactly.
more so with us,
For sure.
this guy.
And I think we popped the question like, hey, like, do you have a place to stay or whatever? He's like, look, not me, but this guy does.
Out the back corner.
And out of the back corner, see a beautiful face. Jose's gorgeous face cooking up a storm for everyone else. And he pops out and says, hey, guys. I'm like, hello, Jose. And he's just talking now. And he's like, yeah, like, if you want a place to stay, like, stay at mine. We're friends. We want to be friends. He's always banging on that.
Take
like,
you fishing.
Take you fishing. I'll take you.
At this moment, I certainly, because you guys were really leading the charge here,
Yeah.
I was pretty, I would say, neutrally energized at this point, especially socially.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was a random bloke who maybe was like going to be nice and maybe like, show us the
Who
side of the
knows?
river. But it turns out like he's kind of running this operation at least wanting to.
So, yeah. Honestly, we hit the pot of gold in Yupukari, because not only would Jose, he gave us a place to stay, he also turned out he was like, used to be a guide, and not only just a guide, he used to work for like one of the best explorers in the region.
Yeah.
So he was an incredible guide, and he'd done some amazing things.
Both Jose and that explorer Ash, the last 2 episodes.
And in the last 2 episodes of the pod, so we really struck gold. And he not only took us in, but took us on tours and showed us all about his lifestyle and living. And he was so welcoming and kind. So
And he was a very good communicator.
Yeah.
As well. Like, it was easy to chat to, understand. Like,
Like, as a guide, sometimes you have a guide and take you up a mountain and you want to ask them about this leaf or the history of the volcano or like, what the town's like and this and that. But you have to kind of ask them, and a lot of the time it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas Jose like knew everything
Yeah.
and was forthcoming with it all the time.
Yeah.
You'd be walking along with him and he'd be like, oh yeah, over there, the runway and the cartel plane and in here,
Yeah.
the birds and this and that.
It's like,
So he's like constantly running that.
yeah. And he was just incredible. Just incredible. So I think we left that place for a bit, then came back. And then his son rocks up for the first time.
What a character.
This character. So Jose is like, I feel like he's that dad that's just too nice. And his son was just like, huh? Like, how do you else just describe this guy? Like, he was just like a lump.
I'm so confident that he's not going to listen to this as well.
Yeah. Like, he just didn't.
Did you just say he was good? He's a lump.
A lump of a human. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, I feel like I pride myself on my ability to like at least have some sort of conversation with nearly anyone.
Excuse me, I'm going to fucking find it out.
Yeah. And this guy, I could not speak to him. Like, I could not. And
oh
yeah. Quite clearly, like Jose became the star of that next to the pit of his son. Anyways, so these are the 2 characters we end up hanging around and spending most of our time.
I don't know though. Like, makes the way you're saying it is like that he was antisocial, but he still seemed keen to like join in at times. He was just like a bit awkward about it. And, like,
But like,
I think he found it really hard to understand our accents.
I think so.
As well.
I feel,
and I mean, he definitely wasn't like pulling his weight around the house or anything. Like,
Yeah.
I often find with, and I've seen this in myself as well, like, it's hard often with young guys, especially in the context of their family home, if they're not doing that kind of stuff, to just respect them. And if you don't have respect, especially for a dude, it's hard to like even want to connect. And
I think it was the respect thing, because I felt like he showed little respect, and that was my issue. And not just for us, but for his dad. And that's why I was like, this doesn't do it.
Pouring.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care, but I don't see you as this anxious guy. I see you as this kid that doesn't give a shit, and it's like an attitude problem. And that's like where I'm like, Like, that's what pisses me off now.
Sorry to go full philosophical podcast mode, but on judgment, because I think judgment, especially for me, is a big like thing in my interpersonal relationships. And then if I think about that, like, respect is almost an antidote to judgment. I think about NPC. There are plenty of things that you could judge that dude on, but there are also plenty of things you can respect him for. Therefore, it's not like you don't like him. Even though you could judge him really harshly for a few things, right? Whereas if you struggle to respect someone, there might not be big things that they do that is like deserving of harsh judgment, but there's just nothing to counterbalance that. So it leaves a really bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, and I
Might
think
be an interesting way to frame
there was a bit of
perceptions of people.
I mean, I just didn't earn the respect. I mean, he did do things for us which I really appreciated. Like, give us the rides and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, took us around on his motorbike.
And he
took us out on the kayak, but
he had some issues with his feet, and he had an accident and that. But that was getting milked. That was so milked. Like, it's 6 months. He's like, oh man, I just can't walk, and all this shit. He's walking everywhere. I'm like, shut up.
There was also one funny moment, which was like an interaction between Josie or Jose. I like calling him Josie.
Josie.
Well, that's his name.
He went by Josie.
Because it was like the Caribbeanification of
Yeah.
Jose. But we said that we wanted to like see some animals out on the river, and Josie had mentioned that there was these giant otters, also known as river dogs by
Water
the
dogs.
locals, water dogs.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a dog.
And we were like,
Like the
oh,
dog.
giant otters, that sounds awesome. Like, we'd love to see them. And then later we heard like Josie briefing his son, Joe, about like taking us out on the boat. And he was like, make sure you see the river otters. Like, you have to find them. Like, it was really funny. Like, he was obviously like, yeah, really
That was the first
really
tour.
didn't trust him, and also really wanted to like put on a show for us.
Yeah.
But he had to go work and cook at the construction
Yeah.
site. It was an interesting time. I mean, we were there 5 nights at Josie's alone.
A lot of
and
time.
A night at the start at Caimans House. So we were there, call it 5 full days with Josie. And it flew by.
Yeah.
That's the nature of village life, right?
Mm.
It's slow when you're in it, but then it's very quick after the fact.
Well, yeah,
And it's hard to like disentangle day from day.
Yeah.
because we're sleeping during the day. It's fully retirement mode. Like we became like the environment made us slow.
It's real outback living, man. The heat just saps it out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we did try, and I think probably I give credit to you guys more than myself for sure, because I'm such a lazy dog when I revert to it, right? And we did get out on the river and the boat, and we went fishing and cooked it up on the fire one night, and then
And
Yeah,
we
that was
catching
good.
like piranhas and catfish, which was
That was awesome.
piranhas,
Piranha o'clock.
Cayman
Yeah.
That was good.
tours and seen the giant otters, and we went for a safari thing for one sunrise to the savannah.
To the anteaters.
Can't
Credit
wait
to
to the
Ted for pushing us to do
giant
that.
anteaters, yeah.
I wasn't missing out on seeing a giant anteater. That
No,
was
it's epic.
sick.
That was so cool.
Awesome
So
shots
cool.
of Zavin.
Yeah, that was
Which
funny.
is funny. And even just walking around town, which we did a fair bit, there's just this family of scarlet macaws, about 10 of them, just hopping from cashew tree to cashew tree,
Oh, yeah.
which for me was just bonkers.
Yeah.
So we saw so many animals.
And we got the sense as well that was like just scratching the surface. Like if you took like one of these tours that Ash, who's him ran the pod on, was running, went up river for like a week, like yeah, that's when you're seeing the jaguars and the tapirs and all crazy stuff.
Naturally, it was incredible. Like, and
Yeah.
is it ecologically or seeing all the animal density that was there, that was also available to be seen because of the nature of the space, was awesome. So if you've got that sense of I want to see animals and I love nature and all that kind of stuff, this is one of the most incredible places to go.
Yeah.
I think because it's so untouched as well.
Well, no one knows about Guyana, but it's also English, but it's increasing infrastructure.
And they haven't had the
protected.
money recently to kind of destroy the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of mining going up towards the coast, but yeah, really deep inland. It's
So these
super.
next 5 years are prime Guyana time for those kind of explorers.
I'd say
Really.
so. If your priority, but even anthropologically, like if you're interested in humans, and especially like human history of agricultural living, subsistence farming, and Christianity, and I thought it was very interesting, and because of the English thing, more accessible, just inherently. I feel like that way with living Guatemala is just so interesting. Anthropologically, you see the movements from mine subsistence farming, living on corn, all the way through to full city living or like big town living in San Pedro, and then it's all within the space of a few kilometers of each other. That being said, both the village life in Guyana and, at least for me, kind of Guatemalan rural towns is not where I want to live most of my life. It's a very interesting case study of humanity, not the kind of version of humanity I really flourish and thrive in, versus something maybe like Venezuela, which is like, okay, or Brazil, like, okay, this is
Awesome.
the cultural reach isn't so wide, and also the differences are differences I'm into.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So now we're spending time at their house, picking up some rubbish as a favour. Don't know if we really did any favours doing that.
Yeah, you've always been good at that.
We're just doing that.
I was trying to get the pod going on
trying to get the
a
pods
few of
going.
them. Yeah.
And it just, now looking back, it does feel like a bit of a time mash because the days kind of folded into each other. But we really just did those tours and then felt the village life, I think. What else would you say?
Yeah, joined in like a soccer game.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. Watched some volleyball. Yeah. Just took it pretty
Yeah.
easy.
Swimming. So another cool thing that we're doing is
See about the OnlyFans girl.
Oh,
the only. Oh no, we don't need to mention that. So swimming in the river was kind of fun. Especially Ted's first. I want to mention this. So we know there's caiman in the river, which are like alligators, right?
But they're pussies compared to crocs back home.
Okay, so they're like alligators, right? And they don't really attack you unless you jump into their territory. And Ted, feeling strong and bold and all this kind of stuff,
Did you think there was any part of you that because you had been kind of victim of this expectation reality gap a few days before and maybe suffered because of it, you were like, no, I need to prove myself that, like, to myself, I'm sure that
I don't
I'm
think
here
that's a
for
proof.
the
It's almost like fucked him.
yeah. Like, was there a bit of that energy
I
around
think it
that
was
swim?
I think it was more just the fact we'd done some like big swims,
Okay, yeah.
some scary swims on
Yeah.
this trip already, and I just wanted to keep that muscle,
Nice.
like,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
mental
Yeah.
muscle flexing.
'Cause I was not there for it at all. I was just
Yeah.
like,
So in my mind, I'm like, every swim before that hasn't really scared me at all, right? Not that I participated in all, but that was because of other reasons.
yeah,
Right?
did you participate in any? Well, it's just the Rio
Yeah,
swim we're talking
well, I
about,
was
right?
swimming it under the fireworks, and
We went for a
Oh.
pretty decent one in the lake the other day
yeah,
Did you too?
as well.
yeah, us too.
Oh, nice.
Anyways,
When we were at the cliff jumping.
so that, anyways,
Oh, yeah,
all swims, in my eyes, fine. This swim, fucked, right? Because
Also
there's
fucked.
in my mind it was because there's caiman in the river, and I'm like
Piranhas as well.
piranhas, like, and Ted's just swimming straight into the middle of the channel. I'm like, ugh, that's gross. But nothing
To be
happens.
fair,
Ted's
though,
fine,
like
Yeah.
there's like locals swimming everywhere.
but not
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah, they're not
Like
going
it's
that
not kind
far
of
out,
on the
but, like,
borders, and
I don't know. No one's like giving us any like kind of.
I felt
be
like it was
careful.
like swimming in Lake Atitlan, and you know there's a freshwater croc, but like again, unless you swim at it and like try to jump on its back, it's not going to give a shit.
got it right. Okay, this is where I want to go with this story though. In Lake Etcham, there's a freshwater croc. When my mum and dad went swimming in this bloody lake in Mexico, there was a fucking alligator. That night, we go on a tour, and we were going for tree boas to see if you see their eyes, they reflect in the tree. So we've got big lights, and caiman eyes also reflect. Mate, within one scan, I can see 8 caiman just lining up on these riverbanks. It is infested, and I just think back to Ted. I'm like, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, I
Yeah, to be
cannot
fair, I
believe
didn't really
he did
have
that
a
swim.
like sense of how many came in
How
there.
many
were
came in there were-
swim, and I
next day?
I wasn't doing it the next day.
There we are.
But I think
So-
that was like rationally, it still would have been fine. But it's just like
no, but it's not about rush.
Yeah.
It's about chance. And like that's like you just
nah,
you're at a point. The only way that it's attacking if you step on it. But there's that many. Because
You can step on them.
the other night, the night after, we go fishing, right? And we put out Joe's net, and I dropped my glasses in the river. My beautiful gold,
$2 Lethem
$2 Lethem glasses, just more valuable than you could put a finger on, right? And I was searching around for these glasses within like a 2-meter radius, and this net is probably casting maybe an 8-meter radius, right? Like a semicircle.
diameter.
So a semicircle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Joe pulls the net in, and there's a massive hole in that net. And I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, oh, fucking caiman. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, this is caiman. I'm like, did that just happen? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, like in my throat. Because I'm like searching around the bottom of this thing for my glasses, and a caiman was literally like, it could have been 2 meters away, 1 meter away from it.
yeah, and we got
So-
told they like eat dogs sometimes, and like
Yeah.
there's like
Well,
I don't
dogs
know,
actually
there's
are
like a
special
1 in
feed to them.
20 year story of like some kid getting
Jumped in the head.
mauled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's not that bad.
No, I
but-
back it, Ted. I back that decision 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an energy thing. If you're not, whatever you've got that confident energy and like your electric waves, because that's what they're picking up on, like whether it's through naivety, ignorance, or just supreme confidence and balls, they're not going to attack that because you have that predator vibration
Yeah.
emanating.
But yeah, didn't do that swim again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
I really wanted to highlight that and almost commend Ted for his bravery / ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to give him the ignorance naivety card rather than the bravery card.
I'll give him both. I'll give him both.
Cheers,
There
What I
Because
will
we-
give
we
you
all have the
every
same
card
amount of
for is
information at that point.
coming up in a few days time or a week time after this story.
Okay, so now do we want to start leaving from Guyana? Or?
Yeah. So Guyana
Yeah.
leaving. There were all sorts of ways we could potentially get out of Yupukari to Georgetown. None of them ideal. There was an awesome river cruise thing that we were originally looking at that would take us like cut down the river to the highway and meet up with it.
All very expensive.
Very expensive. There was the bus back to Lethem,
Yep.
but still not cheap. It was like $25 US, I think, each.
Yeah.
And it only ran Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and cramped and stuff. Anyway, the last few days I'd got in touch more and kind of conversed with Ash, this very experienced explorer guide dude, and we'd done the pod on the Thursday, and then he said like, "No, I'm going on Friday morning first thing. I can give you a lift." I'm like, "Oh, perfect,
Awesome.
right?" That being said, our flight's Saturday evening, and we're kind of a long way away from the coast from Georgetown, so it's not that it was cutting it crazy fine, but we didn't have too much of a margin for error. So anyway, that Friday morning, we hop in the back of Ash's truck, significantly more comfortable ride than the one we came to Yupukari in. The suspension actually worked. There were full new couches.
Two seats.
They were actually bolted into the tray of the truck rather than fucking flopping around like when you go over a bump, which is a bit sketchy.
Yeah. We get into Lethem, and I think we had to take... No, we didn't. Did we take cash out at this point?
Yeah.
We went back to get cash out.
Okay, we went...
Because that was the plan.
Stocked up on
Well, actually,
cash.
no, we went straight to hitchhiking.
I think we went straight to hitchhiking, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we went straight to hitchhiking, the same place we'd been a week before.
No. Let's stop quickly. We're on the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And Ted.
Oh, yes.
Ted is like...
Made another, like I've just repeated like a terrible mistake from.
So Ted's had this
Previously
gorgeous coffee in the morning for some reason.
Oh, because we woke up at bloody like 3:45 in the morning.
Yeah, but quite clearly we're going on a 2.5 hour journey. So like,
It's a sleep on the truck.
Ted's bowels decided to erupt on him, and he was just desperate for a toilet. But not only was it the coffee, we'd all got a slight bout of food poisoning, or something wasn't sitting right from that takeaway we got the last night.
Yeah, we had village
takeaway,
village fucking Chinese takeaway. Like, seriously, bro.
It's always the Chinese takeaway.
We thought we were getting like local
Curries
Curries and stuff, and it
but-
came out like chow mein noodles with rice and chicken. We're like, and it'd been sitting around for hours. And
Yeah,
like,
it
what?
did sit around for hours. Anyway, so
Didn't serve us well.
and Ted desperately needs to shit, and he's like doing like we did like a little stop for a second. Ted's like, "Oh, I really need to go," but Ash is only going for a piss, and you see Ted like,
And it's like Savannah, there's not much like cover or anything.
Yeah.
Like,
And then we rolled into town, we dropped something off, and he fully stopped the engine. So you got out.
yeah, at this point I'm like in pain and I'm like jump out and just run into this what I thought was a vacant block like around this
in the suburbs of Lethem.
unleash. And then I see like a little like kind of shanty shack in the corner of the block and I'm like, oh fuck, this is someone's house. Like, can't do that. Like,
me and Ted are Tim are witnessing this, pissing ourselves laughing at
Oh
Ted.
my god! Because like this guy doesn't have any willpower.
Yeah, well,
Like, what an
out
idiot.
there, like, just hold it up your shit. You know, like I'm telling him this story of how I held the shit for 2 days. It's like,
but yeah, luckily like went into the building where Ash was, I don't know what he was doing, but they had a toilet there.
Picking up some tarp and tires.
but if anything, all the coffee did was it hastened the process of Ted's bowel movements before mine and Tim's, or especially mine, because about an hour later, I'm starting to get some odd movements as well.
Back when we were starting to hitchhike, I think that's
Yeah, and we're at this hitchhiking spot with like the toilet was fucked. So I went out the back of I was sitting at the back of the toilet, like out the back of the building and just doing shits there. And that was interesting. I'd done like 4 shits as well, and
real shit talk. This.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It was quite the
Love a
morning
love
of
food
that though.
story.
Like we were kind of having to run errands and get cash out and get groceries and try to hitchhike.
yeah.
But the overriding theme was the prioritization of one of us at any one point was kind of going off within the next 15 minutes. So it kind of really threw us,
Yeah.
made the efficiency of moving around this town pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Not well.
No.
Anyways, we're at the hitchhiking spot. We're back at Lethem, back at the hitchhiking spot. Exactly. But the hitchhiking spot's now slightly out of Lethem, so it feels like we've conquered Lethem for the last time. But we didn't because we were at this hitchhiking spot for about 4 hours in the blistering heat, and just no one was going to Georgetown.
To be honest, we were vibing out though. We were just dancing, listening to music.
A little festival.
Yeah,
We started a little boiler room.
Yeah. It was actually great, but that 4 hours was the quickest 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly hitchhiking.
I felt like the 3.5 hours were quick. The last half an hour was very slow for me.
Maybe.
I was ready
Yeah.
to go.
But this is the thing. So for context, our flight is out of Georgetown 6 p.m. Saturday. 6 p.m. Saturday. Now, the bus from Lethem to Georgetown is usually about 12 hours, right? But they don't leave first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. or like 3 a.m., right? Because we need to be at the airport before 6 p.m., like before the flight, right? So we really needed to get out of it on the Friday.
Yep.
Now, we could have gone on a bus straight away when we arrived at like 9, 10 a.m.
That reduces the hiccup.
and been in there like that night or something, right? But then we have to stay a night in Georgetown, which we'd heard from all reports Georgetown was going to be pretty crap. Maybe a lot of like
Even
robberies.
dicey.
Yeah. Just very bad reviews of Georgetown.
And like recent reviews as well from like other travellers and sources we'd met.
Guyanese
trusted.
people as well.
Yeah.
Every
It was all the
Guyanese
Guyanese
person
people,
we
because
met
it
had
was
all been robbed.
Pretty reliable intel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also just we'd had one experience in one town in Guyana, so it kind of makes sense to just keep it as that's our one experience, one taste, and not dilute our perception too much.
Yeah.
Mind you, we were keen if we had some spare time to like, I don't know, have a beer in like a
Have a
Georgetown bar and get a feed.
Get a feel for the place.
Yeah.
Kind of
Sort
hastily. So anyway, we wanted to give hitchhiking a go, but we also can't wait all day and then try to get one at 9 p.m. because then we're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, then we have to get a bloody $400 plane, if
Yeah.
or we just have to skip our flight.
Mm.
So it's a bit of a, play it safe, running the risk, gambling here and there. What we eventually decided to do is set a stop loss. I think it was 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. Hitchhiking's no good. We're going to go into town and get one of these buses because they were going until about 5. So we do organise that. We get bus ticket for 5. In the meantime, when we're waiting for that, Zav and I got some fucking Brazilian meat. We got some amazing ice cream selections, including the last acai of the trip.
Oh, and that acai was so good. That needs to be sold in Australia. Like, it needs to.
Like
It's just like
condensed
little
milk thing,
tub acai with like milk chocolate that was actually
Yeah.
around it. Oh my God, it was nuts.
It's
Nuts.
seriously good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the bus, as per usual, left pretty late, but they let us have like showers and stuff. It was all a pretty good mood. What we didn't realise, at least what I didn't realise, was that same town, Yupukari, which we were originally destined for, the reason why is because it's on the river. That river does not have a bridge. It has this boat ferry.
Mm.
The boat ferry is not operating at night. So it closes up, I think someone mentioned at 1.6 p.m.
Yeah.
Now, if we're leaving Lethem at 5 and it's, a 6-hour drive to get to that river, well, we're not crossing the river, right? Till the next morning. So, yeah, we ended up in a town, annoyingly not Yupukari though, annoyingly like still 3 hours away or something for the night. Slept in hammocks that night, nothing too crazy going on. We did have an amazing feed.
Oh,
Probably one of the best feeds of the whole trip.
Guyanese pepper pot.
National dish of Guyana.
Incredible. But at that point, we really hadn't had much Guyanese food. We had like this weird village food that was like this intersection of like I don't know, imported goods and
We've been eating a lot of eggs and rice.
a lot of eggs and rice. So it was really good.
I mean, we
have
were
some
also
traditional-
cooking ourselves, so it's not like real.
Out of the bloody gender, like the shop.
But it was really good to have some Guyanese food, and it was
amazing.
delicious. It
Homemade
was so
soft
good.
white bread, soaking
Oh.
up this kind of sweet beef stew, soft slow cooked beef. It was unreal.
Yeah.
And the
Oh, I
Caribbean
want that
Guyanese
again.
ladies just cracking on in their accents and loving it, and just the band. Like, it's all good.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then we was talking to that guy, and we're like, well, what time is this bus actually getting to freaking...
right. So
Thingo.
when are we going to arrive? If we're here the night,
So we were kind of expecting it would just be like an overnight bus, like get there at like 5 or 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
because of the ferry situation, and we weren't even at the ferry to begin with. So we woke up at 5, I think,
4 a.m.
4, and then we start driving, but it's still a few hours to the ferry.
Yeah.
Then we're mucking around to wait for and be on the ferry. Immediately after, we stop again for another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So by the time this is the whole rigmarole of the day, and mind you, these roads are shockingly bad.
Yeah.
Right? You're probably lucky to average 40 k's, 50 k's an hour.
Mm.
And
Mind you, though, when you get on a better section, they're absolutely pumping it.
the
going
guy's
like
sending it on the
110.
shit thing.
Yeah.
And they're like terrible. Like the vans you can maybe sell on Facebook Marketplace in Australia for $3,000. Like maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it's like rusty
No
floor.
seatbelts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was very good at sleeping, but you.
I slept too. I was
You were pretty
daisy.
scared.
I was uncomfortable for
Yeah.
one, just knees cramped, and then I was just like, this is like I don't know. Zab's he said he's pretty afraid of flying. I was pretty afraid of this. I'm just having visions of the guy sending it too hard over a pothole, and we're sliding on the side of the van.
It's fair.
Yeah.
In my eyes, that actually makes rational sense because that was fucked. He was just sending it.
Yeah,
I
and,
just
no seatbelts. The guy, we saw him having a beer, before he drove.
Yeah. A few beers.
Few beers actually was pumping him.
Yes.
But anyways, look, I just want to rewind a little bit. So we're at, maybe even the original bus stop, and we realised that this bus gets there at around 2:30, and that's starting to really push it for time.
2-3
So it becomes this real
flight's
time
6.
constraint. Our flight's at 5:55, and we need to be there.
Sorry, 5:55.
No, I just want to
rewind.
get some
I'm going to
details
go
out.
back and edit every single.
And Tim almost self-admits, he's like, I need to go Karen mode. I need to make sure this
Readily
bus...
accessible Karen.
Readily accessible Karen mode. So we're at...
too readily accessible.
So we stop, what we think is surprisingly early at this Georgetown pepper pot place. We sleep there, and Tim's like, okay, I'm going to hurry this guy up in the morning.
And I kind of forewarned him. I'm like, we
Yeah.
have a flight. It's at 4. I didn't tell him 6. I told him it's 4:30.
It's 4:30. We need to go.
We need to be there at 2.
Yeah.
You're saying 2, maybe 3, but I know how South America works, and that could easily turn into fucking 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you say 2, you need to make it 2.
He's like,
No?
okay, we'll be fine, whatever. The next day, we leave at 4:30, not 4. So we're already half an hour behind
But
the
I
eight
was
ball.
pulling people out of their habits.
Oh, yeah.
There's one guy who was, mind you, we're in the jungle. It is warm. Yeah, at 4 a.m. It's still warm. It's probably
Yeah.
23 degrees or something. And this local bloke who's got himself ready, and then we're kind of milling about the bus, and then he goes back into his hammock and curls up. I'm like, man, are you on our bus? And he's like, yeah, I'm cold though. I was like, mate, get out, we're going. So you can have my jumper.
So we're pushing people, and Tim's like, just remember, to the bus driver, we're 2. We're getting there.
But he really doesn't seem to give that much of a shit. He's like,
He's
oh
kind
yeah,
of-
whatever.
He cared nonchalantly. Yeah.
It's a very nonchalant culture,
Mm.
and I think he did care. But again, think about Joe. The culture, especially young guys,
Oh, the
is
lump.
always nonchalant. Yeah.
So this guy was anyway. So now we're in the bus, making our way.
This guy's a lump with a job.
A lump with a job. But we're getting there, and then I reckon about 2 hours out, we're like, oh, we're definitely not
Even
making
before
it at
that,
2.
4. It was 11 o'clock.
Mind you, we're stopping for
Big
everything,
breaks.
petrol, ice cream, a drink.
Oh,
It's just so unnecessary.
But also, it was 11 o'clock, and we were something I don't know how many Ks we were, maybe 400 Ks. It was something ridiculous. And I was like,
Doing
the
the
rate
maths.
we're going, doing the maths, it's we're looking 3-4 o'clock here. Or
3:34, yeah.
maybe even later. And I was like, oh, this is cutting it close. Realistically, if our flight's at 6, we want to be at the airport latest. It's an international flight, 4:35.
Mm.
And then Georgetown, I was actually under the impression the airport was right in Georgetown because there is an international airport.
But there were 2 airports, and this
We didn't
international airport's the
realise.
one that's at least 45 minutes out to an hour out.
Yeah.
Or by the bus time that we went into,
It's
an hour.
10
An hour
or
10.
an hour 15 or something.
So let's say we get to Georgetown now, and we are pressed for time.
But annoyingly, we drove straight past the airport. An
Yeah,
hour
we
before.
could have got out, and
But our bags were stuck up on the roof, tied.
and it's
but-
dumb because we all have small enough bags that we could have just.
And also, mind you, if the time that Karen Tim had said was true, 4:30, we would have missed this flight by
Ages.
quite.
And he was apologising because 2 hours out, we stopped at a petrol station. He was he pulled me over and he was like, so what time's your flight? I was like, look, if we get there by 3, we'll be okay. Because he said that. It was 1 o'clock and he was like, and I was like, how long have we got? And he's like, oh, 2 hours, about 2 hours. It's if that's true, we'll be
Yeah.
okay. But are you sure that's true?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Right? And I was like, I fucking like, are you sure? And he's like, yes.
And middle of the drive, he starts pulling the traffic card. And
Isn't it?
shittest card I've ever seen being pulled because there was hardly any traffic. Yeah, so there's hardly any traffic on the road. And he's like, no, like, guys, we're not making it to 3. And we're like, shit. Anyways, we get on the Wi-Fi.
Mind you,
By
probably is a little bit our fault as well for leaving it so like.
Kind of is, kind of isn't. Kind of. I feel like catching a bus 2 p.m. or 3 o'clock the day before to get to a flight at 4 o'clock the next day is pretty like that's a 12-hour bus, not a 24-hour freaking. You know.
Yeah, easy to blame, Mara.
Also, I'm blaming him.
This is just how it probably works there and like local.
But also, I was very aware that we were like kind of pushing it.
Anyways, by God's grace, we get on the internet we start asking around everyone in the thing, like, we need internet, we need to see what's happening with this flight. It was delayed.
An hour.
Oh
my God. When I saw that, you look up Google flight status, you see 5:55 crossed out and in red 7 p.m.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was very
such a relief.
That's like, that first bite of a Sarita ice cream.
Yeah. So that was just a huge win. But still, we were playing the card of we need to get there quickly because we didn't want, again, to be on a South American timeline. We wanted to get there and have time. Because we still got there with like not too much time. Anyway, so we get there. So we get out and then we get this taxi from the best taxi driver I've ever.
The best taxi service. His name?
Travis.
No,
Terry.
Terry.
Yeah. Terry, man.
If anyone ever, if anyone's listening to this, fuck. But like, if anyone ever is going through Guyana or Georgetown, we have Terry's contact, and you want Terry's contact as well.
Not only just to drive your taxi, but you want to hang out with Terry.
He's a guide, like everything.
He was like, if you guys were staying for another couple of days, I'd be your taxi. I'd take you to places. Like, I was like, dude, like, I want to stay. Yeah. I want to hang out with Terry. He was
literally like, if you tried my mama's pepper pot, you'd never leave.
I was like, oh, mate, I want to try your mum's pepper pot.
He was Black African dude. Caribbean dude.
He was so cool. And he's
a bit of style about him as well. Like,
well, let's.
What did he say? Show us his Instagram. He
made gold jewelry.
Made gold jewelry, and it was like baddest jeweler in Georgetown.
Yeah, baddest. Yeah.
Because again, it's like a bad town. Like, it's a Caribbean bad town. Like,
yeah.
But when we got in the taxi, I told him, like, we're in a bit of a rush. Like, we're in quite a rush. We got to fly.
Quote unquote, we're in a bit of a rush, but don't kill us.
It's like, get us there as quickly as you can while safely.
But then Terry unlocks Terry mode and he's just flying. But
he was kind of annoyed because he was like, oh no, like, we have to, you're making me rush now.
He was a part of the mission.
He kind of wanted to be a tour guide, and then he's like, okay, switch from I'm taking these guys around Georgetown, my city, to we've got a mission to get to the airport. Yeah. And he just fucking made that switch in 2 seconds.
We doing maneuvers I would never consider in my lifetime.
Like, literally within the first 5 minutes of the drive, like, he's doing this like weird U-turn.
Can I set this up, right? Yeah. So we had a big 3-4 lanes going both way, like as in
highway.
Your cross section, right? And we need to turn right. Now they drive on the left, so if you drive on the right, turn, right? So you need to cross turning right. We'd missed the light to turn right. So what he did was sneak a left and then do an illegal U-turn to get in the lane that's going that way.
With all this oncoming traffic, and he just like, he's like, yep, bang, bang, bang. Terry's moving, and I'm like, whoa. And in the corner of my eye, I see these motorbikes that are just coming up. I'm like, Terry, watch out.
I don't even think it was a motorbike. I think it was one of those e-bikes. Scooter.
They're Vespas, motorbikes. Yeah. So, and they're coming out like, Terry, watch out. He looks, he slams on the brakes, and this motorbike, he actually clips the motorbike.
Yeah, he fucking hit the guy.
And Terry's like, fuck off, mate. Like,
he's swearing in like Caribbean.
What did he say?
Fucking learn to look or something.
No, he said scump. He's like, oh, scump. Fucking scump. Like,
he pulls out the window and starts.
And he pulls up next to him. He's like, scump, man.
Man has just done the most illegal U-turn.
He's done the illegalest, shittest, most dangerous maneuver, and it was clearly
not that far off, like, killing this bloke.
Yeah. The other guy was like
and the other guy was like
disheartened,
kind of like baited. He was like apologetic,
shocked, to be honest. Like,
it was a Francis moment. Like, it was clearly his fault for the accident. Made the other person feel like it was their fault. But No one died, so I was okay with it.
But he was sending it on the highway.
And then
he
Terry
knew where
just
the
starts-
speed cameras were, so he'd suddenly be in the speed
Yeah.
limit, and then he was like weaving.
Overtaken. everywhere,
Meanwhile,
like,
still giving us a tour,
Yeah, still be like, oh, that's there, that's there.
talking all about life in Georgetown. Made
Yeah,
us
this
wanna
is the
stay.
poor spot. This is the
Yeah.
good part. Like, don't go here. Come here with me.
So for context, the bus driver had done from the airport to the bus depot in Georgetown. I think it took about an hour 20. And Terry, we did it in like 37 minutes.
We did it in 45 minutes, including a stopover to get food.
Oh, and that was 10, 12 minutes.
That was 10
well, yeah,
minutes.
once we started getting close to the airport, we realized like we were gonna make it easy.
Yeah.
We were like, fuck yeah, like, so we're like, should we like stop and get like a feed? Like, is there any good place for like, Guyanese food? And so he accepted that mission.
Yeah, accepted
as
that mission
well.
full-heartedly. So I was like, look, I don't know, but like, I'll find you something. Don't even worry about it.
Runs into one restaurant. Oh, you got curry? Like,
Yeah.
No, next door. Like.
Yeah, he charges in. He's like, yeah, you got curry. He's like, no, okay, done. Leading us into this next place. We get some curry. We save that to the airport. We bought him some as well because I think he deserved that at the least. We get to the airport, say goodbye, take a photo with him. That was lovely. And then we're checking in.
This airport situation was pretty funny as well. Never have I had a more lax international airport situation.
But pretty like strict on time. Like if we hadn't been there, if the flight wasn't delayed, we would not have been let in, which was kind of stupid
because we got there.
Oh, we got there
minutes before the flight.
Just like, come on, like the gates are there anyways. So we're going in, and the security guards, we've got bottles of water and stuff. And we can't take
curry.
And curry. We've got bags of curry and bottles of water. And they're like, yeah, just, throw out the bottle of water when you see a bin. Don't worry about it.
So
Like,
before you get on the plane,
Just
drink
throw it
your
out.
water and eat your curry.
so technically we just took the bottles of water in and just,
Fuck the 100 ml rule.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like, but like we drank them and then threw them away.
What happened to your
So-
shoes, Ted?
Oh, that was funny as well. Yeah, I was putting them through the scanner, and they were like covered in red dust from like the savannah.
Yeah.
And they got a bit close to one of the security ladies' hands, and she just like squealed, and then just like laughed and like, I don't know. Normally they'd be like,
good.
like what the hell, like dust or something. Like you can't have dirt on your shoes.
True,
like, it's
yeah.
biohazard or something. And this lady is just like,
I felt
Yeah.
very good vibes. Well, hang on. Guyana, like Guyanese people were very good vibes or very bad vibes.
Yeah.
And there's essentially nowhere in between.
Yeah.
It's a real potluck,
Mm.
lucky dip mix.
but yeah, made us definitely wish that we got at least like a day or something in Georgetown to
Yeah, for sure.
meet some of the people. And
But honestly, I think
Yeah.
the ecological, just astounding situation in Guyana and the English, I don't see myself never going back there again. Like,
Yeah, of
I feel
course.
like
yeah,
that'll-
I'm definitely allured as well.
yeah.
And
This-
also because knowing that it will change so much by the time we've gone back next, like it'll just be fascinating
to see that.
yeah.
Definitely. Similar to what we were saying about Venezuela, it's such a good time to go and like
Mm.
be able to say in 20 years and then piss off your kids. Like, yeah, well, 20 years ago when I was here, it was like this. Like,
Yeah, that is an old man grumpy story.
oh,
That.
can't wait. Good one. Yeah. Already you come from a bit of that from the lake. It's like, oh, this wasn't here a year ago. This is new.
Yeah, you've been big on that.
So now we're about 24 hours into our 60-hour total travel time send from Rupununi to Guatemala.
And I think the funniest part about this, now I think about it, the funny thing about the Georgetown airport experience was how opposite it was to
Yeah.
our flight was to New York. And the New York airport experience is like
Oh,
completely different.
New York airport actually stole my heart. Not because, in no way, shape, or form because of the airport itself, but because of the rogue characters that you meet. And I think I stand by it. In America, you can potentially find the craziest humans.
Yeah.
Because this airport,
We weren't fatigue drunk. We were fatigue high.
yeah,
We were like fatigue mushrooms.
yeah, we're on another level, just operating in this wavelength. I think we've gone past the low of like annoyed of each other's company, and now we're just
But
the
also,
synergy's
like,
going.
I think there was a bit of an undercurrent. Like, we narrowly escaped being stuck in Venezuela by an hour.
Yeah.
We narrowly escaped being stuck in Guyana
By
again
an hour.
by an hour.
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing you can throw at us.
Yeah.
And in those times of like we've fucked up here. It
Mm.
wasn't we fucked up because, oh, okay, well, we'll stay in Venezuela. Oh, okay, well, instead of going to Guatemala, we'll do hitchhiking through Texas or something. Like, there was
Yeah.
always these plan Bs that would have been just as good because the side mission is the mission. So
Mm.
it was really like, you can throw me in jail in America for 12 hours and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So we're having so much fun. We're just giggling at weird shit. And then Americans decide to be Americans, right?
I mean,
Even
the
as-
American border
as soon as
police
we get
are
to the border
so
police.
notorious. Like, everyone's
Yeah.
got stories, or at least, their friends have got stories of being interrogated and often pulled into, like, for interviews and stuff about
Yeah.
stuff. Our little experience is quite amusing, though.
So he didn't want to pull us for an interview. He was down with it. Like, he was just like
I think
talking.
we got him on side eventually.
Yeah, he initially a bit like, oh, other countries are shit. But then hung like
Oh, the
a
guy
nice amount of shit in America.
Yeah, okay.
No, and then there's the next guy.
Yeah, the next guy.
Oh, do you guys want to take this one away? I feel like
Well,
you should.
I was thinking, like, again, it's the dude who's just standing there as you kind of going into the transit lounge. And again, like in most countries, they might be a bit narky, but in America, they just have such a reputation of really trying to like intimidate because there's just so much nonsense and tension around US immigration. And weirdly, I think for especially for me, I won't talk about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I always think, well, I'm from Australia. Like, I'm not trying to be an illegal immigrant anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I get it if I look I mean, I guess maybe it's racist, but I get it if I look like
Logical.
African or Asian or
Yeah.
South American. Like, it makes sense because just statistically, they do want to stay in America and work there or in Australia. But it's like, I'm from one of the, the countries that people want to move to. So, anyway, it's
so
privilege.
I go up to this guy actually. He didn't pull me in. I went up to him. I'm like, hey, like, do you know where the exit is? I thought it was straight ahead or right. I was confused. He just blanks me and he goes, do you have your passport, sir? I'm like, I've already been checked like by the immigration officer. I've been given the stamp. So I don't know why he's asking me, but I'm like, sure, okay. Like, so I give him my passport. He's like, passport, please. So we all have to give him our fucking passport. Yeah, where are you going? And we're going, what were we saying?
To Guatemala.
Going to Guatemala. He's like, Guatemala? What are you doing?
No, where you come from?
Where'd you come from? And we're like, oh yeah, Guyana. He's like, oh, that's a weird route.
Yeah, Guatemala.
Guatemala.
To Guatemala.
And honestly, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very weird
We're
route.
the first humans ever to go from Yupukari directly to Lake Atitlan. I am positive.
Yes. So we're like, yeah, fair enough. And he's like, oh, like, why are you going to Guatemala? And we're like, well, because it's beautiful. He's like, what's so beautiful about like Guatemala? I'm just pissing myself laughing at this point. Cause like, what a fucking shit question. Like, what are you learning from this?
Well, we were laughing, and I was trying to say the real thing is like, yeah, there's lakes and volcanoes, you should go. And like, but we're giggling, like we're laughing, we're laughing at this
him.
dude, like in his face. But that's the power of having three people that don't give a shit.
So we didn't feel nervous. We just felt like almost like I wanted to take the piss out of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a very piss take worthy character.
Yeah, I think I was like feeling a bit apprehensive. I was like, oh, like this doesn't seem like the kind of person you want to piss off. Like, they've got way more power and like a big chip in their shoulder. Like,
but
these are the people you just kind of like quietly like.
Nah, fuck that, because that's what they expect from everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone does that.
yeah.
I'm like, nah.
No, and for that reason, it was like great to see.
Yeah.
Like,
But he threw me off so much, and like he had that power thing that I like naively like, fuck this. Like, I want to throw this right back at your face. I want to throw you some wild questions too, buddy. Like, I want to.
Well, I asked him when you guys were walking off. I asked him like, so this whole like intimidating questions thing, does that like work? Do you catch people out for doing stuff?
Yeah.
Do they like break under pressure? And he's like, maybe.
Yeah. I think I said something to him as well. I can't remember. But anyways, we just took the piss out of him, and he slightly got on board. I got a smirk out of him, and I was so happy.
Smirk.
I was like, yes.
It was like even back in
it.
Georgetown, there was a girl working at Burger King, and she was just so grumpy. And I was trying to.
No, this is where the giggles come from. Me and Tim started doing uncomfortable questions, just really weird ones.
Georgetown Airport, we've been like trying to change Guyanese dollars for US dollars, and we could do it at Burger King, and we're going around like absolute dickheads just buying ice cream and Whoppers
Consuming
and getting like $5 change out of like 50s and stuff. And like this girl was so grumpy. Even the first time I'd gone there, I was like, I need to get this.
Yeah, you need
to
like get the smile, you
get
know.
the little smirk.
Yeah.
And how I got it was, you see the chips like in the fryer, and then they have like the bags of chips, but there's like, there's gonna be like 20 chips just strewn around.
Yeah, and there was all these chips at the top that were
and
clearly
they're
the cold ones.
and they're gonna go in the bin. You know that, right? And I was just like, when I paid and I got my change, and I was like, come here, like over the counter. So she leans in, and I was like, you see those chips over there? They're like, Cole, you're not gonna use them, right? Like,
Yeah.
Do you reckon like we got our 3 Whoppers? No one will know if it's chucking me in the bag. And she's like looking at me, and I'm like, yeah. She didn't. No. But she got the smirk.
No, but she was so torn. She's like, no, I can't. I'm like, oh,
But
you can. Like, you can.
That's
Oh, so good. And then she's like, oh, no, I can't. And once that no came, we knew it was a no. And then we get on the plane, and we were really going at that point.
Yeah.
So, and then we saw like the plane library. There was like this.
Oh, that's.
I said there was like a little air library container. And we're like, what the fuck is that? So Ted.
It's where they keep the manuals for the.
So you were like,
plane.
what's the air library? And like, oh, that's what we've got all the manuals. And me and you're like, oh, can we read them? Can we borrow them for the plane? It's like, oh no, it's like, oh, like, so it's not public, it's exclusive. Like, so we're in a real shit talking
And you
mood.
asked for a business class.
I asked for some business class seats, and
which was annoying because they were all empty.
they were all empty. It's
Like,
like,
the
oh
guy
no,
was like roasting us for being in shorts and stuff.
yeah,
And I was like, and he was like, no, we can't give them to you because like, and I was like, again, you can.
you can, yeah, that's what I said. Like, look, you can give us those
Because we
but
were in the 4th row as well. We
you
were
just
right
don't want to,
there.
yeah, or you want to, you're just scared to. So,
Yeah.
and then you asked a rogue one. This is one I was really uncomfortable.
Oh, that
asking.
was interesting.
So,
We're rolling.
I came up with this question in my head. I'm like, how many air hostesses have been propositioned to have sex and join the Mile High Club? Because I was saying to the guys, like, I think I'm over that stage. And they're like, no one's over that stage. Like, everyone actually wants to join the Mile High Club. Maybe with your partner or something. But, I think the stage leaves when you want to do it with the air hostess. I'm like, but surely there's other gremlins that have asked these girls. So then I was like, that's a great uncomfortable question. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to ask that because then she's clearly going to think I'm propositioning her and I don't want to make her uncomfortable. Tim, what did you say to her?
No, I was about halfway. I was 3/4 of the way through the flight. Middle of the night, everyone's sleeping. Went to the back because that's where the only toilet was.
Fantastic time to proposition, but anyways.
I don't think I've heard this.
Have you not
really?
heard
No.
this?
And I was like, anyway, they're all chilling because,
Yeah.
the job's done, basically.
Yeah.
There was the one gay guy and the 2 girls. And yeah, I was like, oh, I'll have a tea. Can I have a tea? Yeah. But I did that whole thing. And then I was like, I'm here now. And
Yeah.
you'd be talking about this
You
question.
gotta
I was
ask.
like, I got to ask. I feel like we'd already been friendly with these people. And
Mm.
I tried as best as you can in my tone and mood and attitude. Like, obviously, the words and the question itself is quite clearly leading that way. But
Yeah.
I tried to make it as innocent as possible. But yeah, I just asked that. And like they
Did
didn't
you
even...
ask like one lady or did you
No,
ask
all
all
of them
of them
together.
together?
And
That's good.
and they
That's
didn't
solid.
yeah, exactly.
That's
So
what I
was
thought
like,
in my head. If I was
guys,
going to do
like-
that, it's the group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How much do you guys get asked that? And like they didn't understand. The girls didn't understand what I meant. Like, well, they're Colombian. Maybe it's not like maybe it's not a thing or the right words, terminology.
Yeah.
But the gay guy knew exactly what I was. So he kind of like
Yeah.
and it was very boring. They're like, nah.
Never.
And I was like, oh, okay.
What if-
But the gay guy, what did he? That's right. He was like, well, if you asked me, it would be the first time. And I was like, whoa,
What?
buddy.
Oh, yeah. This is the tea I
That's
wanted,
good
not
banter.
yours.
Yeah,
That's
it was
great,
fucking
man.
funny.
Anyway, so like really, I think long story short, that uncomfortable question mood really set our giggly tone
Yes,
into
going to New York
like
Airport.
that's why we're taking the piss and then we meet the guy that was clearly an illegal immigrant. He was the guy that was checking in for us.
Oh,
he just kept on like randomly out of the blue, like, I love New York Yankees.
this is Colombian bloke working for Avianca that have probably been in New York for 20, 30 years, but classic, like, classic New Yorker, I feel, just like
Oh my God.
in such the bubble of like American culture,
Yeah.
And probably insecure about like being
having the accent and,
Yeah,
you
like-
know,
not seeming American enough. Like,
exactly. So completely overcompensating
Yeah.
to the nth degree.
Clearly so illegal. Like, I also love, like, because he was talking about other sports as well. He's like, yeah, I love this team. We've never even heard of it. Like, we don't even know.
Hockey team, maybe.
I really wanted to be like, I'm like a spy and like just fuck with this guy. But
I'm pretty sure I
It was helpful
shouted
enough.
out at one point, like, we're an illegal alien or something, and Ted was like, off the back of our banter with that bloke, and he was always a bit, like,
legal.
like, edgy. And then I was saying, not quite, I have a bomb in the airport, but in America, it maybe could be
I was
construed as
like,
such.
there's like so little to be gained by saying this, but obviously there
But just-
feels like there's a lot to be gained.
Felt like there was a lot of giggles to be gained.
Yeah.
So we had the giggles. And then we got to the border, the place we scan in all your stuff. And we're scanning all our things, and all three of our bags get stopped.
One was okay.
One was
The Coles
fine.
bag.
The Coles bag. I had to let go
Oh,
of
in
my
the
deodorant.
security, yeah.
And
yeah.
then, sadly, we had to let go of our pineapple jam, which we hadn't have opened.
Oh, this is
And it's in the bin. And I'm like, fuck this. Like, we haven't tried this
We got this
pineapple
from the
jam yet.
village, Yeah.
And like Ted had to go back through security to drink his water, which he took so long to drink. But anyway.
So the security guards had like thrown this in the bin.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, surely if he's back there, you can reach into the bin, get the pineapple jam out and give it to him and he'll have it. They're like, look, like, we can give him the pineapple jam, but there's no fucking way I'm reaching into that bin. Like,
So
I'm not
arrogant.
doing it. And the other guy's like, no, man. I'm like, you want to do this?
You know that TikTok? I don't know if you guys know this, but like there was
Yeah.
a TikTok trend maybe a year or two ago,
Yeah.
of white American girls doing really not crazy stuff, like
Yeah.
running in the middle of the street and like skipping or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my god, Emily, such crackhead energy! Like,
I've never seen that. I don't think I want to, but
this was the vibe I got from these blokes. It was like, oh my god, bro, don't
Don't
you're
reach
gonna put
into
your
the bin.
hand in the
In the
bin. Like it's
bin.
literally like the top.
it is
You
the
can see-
top thing that's on top of all the other rubbish. It's in a
It's
container.
also a
Like,
security bin. You're not putting rotten fish in
Yeah,
there.
I
like,
know, like-
you're putting bloody razors,
Screwdrivers,
water bottles,
whatever.
screwdrivers.
Pineapple jam.
so it was like, it was a bit of back and forth, but he's like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, no,
We're
like,
hyping them up.
I'm like, you can, like, imagine, like, pineapple jam. Like, he's like, like, George, just there. And he's just like, is that, okay. He's like reaching into this bin. He pulls it out. He's like, I can't believe I just did that. Like,
He's wearing gloves. I'm
he's wearing gloves. Anyway, so he gets it, gives it to Ted, and we'd been carrying this jam for like 3 days.
Well, because I mean, for context, in a town like Yupukari, there's
Yeah.
a few shops and very limited stock on the shelves. So we've been having these butter biscuits, which
Yeah, our dopamine levels were completely
Rock
reset.
bottom.
Like we're
Yeah.
enjoying, like
butter biscuits
we were like salivating over butter biscuits,
Had,
plain butter biscuits.
with like guava
Yeah.
jam
oh, guava jam was incredible.
and chili sauce.
And chili
and
sauce.
chili sauce. And we tried this new flavor, this pineapple jam, and we hadn't tried it yet. We'd bought it for the
Yeah.
trip, and because we've been eating,
Excited to try it.
because we've been eating pepper pot and then curry, we hadn't had to crack them open. And they said, oh, it's over 100 mils, right? So you can't take it through security. We're like, can we try? And like, you can try it on the other side of security, which we'd just come through.
Yeah.
And as you said,
So
Ted
that's
had to
why we
come
get it
back
out of the
anyway.
bin so that we can give it to Ted on the other
Just
side
to
of
have a
security,
taste.
just to have a taste. Cracks it open,
And
has a
How was
taste.
the experience, Ted? Because I actually haven't had an in-depth run through of the pineapple jam.
No, it was just dead average. Like I don't know, it just kind of tasted like fake pineapple. Like,
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was
Yeah.
because the dopamine levels at this point weren't rock bottom?
I mean, I reckon maybe a little bit, but it was still just not as good as the
No.
guava jam.
I recall Ted coming out and he said that was shit.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had the high horse there because
I know,
I
just
told
like-
them that pineapple jam would be shit.
Tasted more like pineapple, like a shit brand pineapple juice rather than like
Okay. Yeah.
pineapple.
But anyway, so now I think that was all of the security fun that
Yeah.
we got to have.
And then we were kind of coming down, I think, and getting proper tired. Flew to Guatemala. That was pretty nice because, this is my second home. I spent a long time here, learned a lot, grew a lot, and haven't been back here for a full year. So that was very cool. And then, yeah, we just kind of came to the lake, chicken buses.
Chicken bus was great. Lived
bus
up
was
to
awesome.
expectations.
Yeah.
Had the usual characters
Yeah.
jumping on the bus,
That's
selling shit.
Naud Ante, the helper, that was mad.
Oh, that was
He-
epic. Yeah.
So like these guys told me like expect the unexpected. Like these guys are just wild characters. They'll pop out of places, and I was so caught off guard still. This guy full Houdini'd it. Like, we'd been traveling, like, we'd stopped, and usually they'd
So,
jump
I
out,
think we need
welcome people
context,
on.
like paint a picture of what a chicken bus is.
Okay.
So big yellow American school buses you see in the movies, when they're decommissioned, they drive them south of the border, and they do them right up.
Yeah.
Like
At least paint-wise.
well, yeah, definitely not internals. They put a dirty diesel engine in them.
Yeah.
But they paint them in colours. They put their wife's name on the front. They have blaring horns and whistles and lights, and they have all sorts of signs inside. Like the driver has stickers like "Yo amo mi toxica," like I love my toxic women girl.
Yeah.
Oh
God.
And it's all very funny. And then they'll have the driver who's a maniac.
Yeah.
This is a huge school bus, and they're driving it like it's a bloody rally car.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're overtaking people, like much smaller cars. Like, this bus is flying.
yeah.
When there was really bad traffic on the way to the lake as well, and that turned out to be because one of these buses had just like ploughed into like another vehicle.
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
So they have the driver, but they also have the
So
ayudante, which is just a helper, right? And he's hanging out the door when they pull up to a stop and shouting where they're going, like, shut up. And like, they quickly, like, these things often don't even stop fully.
Yeah.
Like, people get on while it's kind of slowing to a crawl, and then it takes off again. He puts the bags on the top.
And not just bags, but all kinds of weird luggage, like fucking fridges, like giant bags of corn or rice or something, like
all sorts.
Anything like that you would, I guess, in Australia need to have like a van for. Like,
People just take on the bus.
People just whack it on the roof of the bus. And
So-
this helper Ayudante guy, he's in charge of like securing the load while the bus is already
In motion.
started. Like,
Yeah.
It's not stopping. It does not stop.
And they're not like going slow at this point or either. They're like,
So what was that?
So we'd stopped over, or like stopped as in like slowed down. Yeah. We'd slowed down, got everyone at that stop on, and the idea he's nowhere to be seen. And we're like, okay, he's putting things up, and I completely forget. 10 minutes later, right, we've been flying like 80 Ks, 90 Ks. Someone just pops out of nowhere at the back of the bus. Oh,
There's a back door.
it's this guy.
It's the emergency
Like,
exit.
where have you been, mate? Like, why did you just rock up now? So he'd clearly been just chilling on the top of the bus for the last 10 minutes. I was like,
Yeah,
no
there's
way.
the top of the bus, and then there's a little ladder on the back side, and then there's the emergency exit door, which of course, as a school bus, never gets used.
Yeah.
But it's just common practice.
It's commonly,
it's just
yeah.
another door.
What
Yeah.
makes so much sense to you is because, yeah. But anyways, that was a great experience.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think I'm most interested in your perception of the lake in Guatemala, because we've been here before, Ted, but
Sorry.
worth waiting for the view, boys, eh?
Pretty nice. And then we get to the lake, and my specialty on this trip has been passenger princess mode. I've not done any research. I've not known any of the places we're going. I've more just tagged along with great vibes, I think, and that's about it. And we get to this Lake Atitlan, and I've not seen any photos. I've only ever seen one photo that I think you posted off a dock, and you can just see the mountains, and like some freediving videos that you've posted on your Lake Atitlan thing. And that's it. So I was like, yeah, like this place looks good. And it's like, we're on the bus on the way, and I'm telling Tim, like, mate, I'm already in love with Guatemala. Like, I already love this place.
What were you seeing and feeling and hearing?
I was just feeling, well, probably like comparing Guyana to Guatemala. There's like no, like an absence of like, I don't know, that kind of South American, Latin American culture, or like Central American culture, like the people. And as soon as you get to Guatemala in this gorgeous chicken bus roaming through the streets, like people are jumping on board, like there's so much culture and things are going on, and like there's not too many rules, so it's just like make it work kind of stuff. And I'm loving this. I'm loving the architecture, and I'm not much of an architecture person, but it's just so beautiful. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like Italy with more character, like in my mind, especially this lake, because this is like Lake Como on steroids.
Well, I guess it's kind of like European colonialism with like some Mayan flair.
It hasn't got the
top.
same, like, I think a lot of Europe always feels like you can't avoid what I certainly often perceive as like a pretentiousness and like classist nature.
It doesn't feel like there's these like royal buildings, and they're not trying to go for that regal thing. They're trying to go for color.
Yeah.
They're trying to go for welcomeness.
Just human.
More human. So it feels like at the lake, especially, there's a lot of, I feel, wealth that's come through here. So it's got this royal kind of touch, I suppose, or like this like nice European, I guess, colonialism touch, but really colourful. And I love it. And I absolutely love it. And this lake, as I've been telling you guys, I love mountains and I love lakes. Like they're like two things. Like I love the sea, but I don't really care for it as much. And yeah, like savannas, they're cool, and jungles, they're cool. But where I want to be is like surrounded by mountains at lakes. Like that's this. This is literally this to a T. And yeah, I mean, you can't see now, it just got clouded up again, but it's just taking boats everywhere as taxis, and you can swim every morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it is definitely a massive tourist hotspot, so I wouldn't live here. I don't think that's the goal, but just being here feels like the most, in my mind, it's feel like I'm having a romantic bout with the beauty that Guatemala can offer, I think. And I've already told these guys, like, this is like a honeymoon destination for me. Like, I think that's written itself in its, like, I would love to come here again for that kind of time, because it feels like that for me.
It's the kind of place that I don't think you come here for a rogue adventure. You come here to spend money and have an amazing time.
Yeah. And it's...
But in a better... Because you're spending less money than you would elsewhere.
Yeah.
Even though it like isn't nothing, it's like...
And you're probably getting like a
you're getting more.
experience.
Exactly.
A really cool experience. And there is a diverse range of characters here. Very diverse.
It attracts...
It's like hippie central. So there's heaps of hippies, and we've gone to the ecstatic dance, and that was an experience in and of itself, you know?
Do you want to quickly describe that one?
So, well, let's take you before that, because I feel like there's a bit of a lead in for me, especially because I'm not a hippie, right? So I ain't no hippie. I know hippie partner, but anyway, so we go to a Laguna or Iguana, set up shop there. Then we go to Tom's Cafe, and this guy raves about Tom's Cafe. We'll be heading there soon. Mentioning Tom's Cafe is like making me
giving
so
you serotonin.
happy.
We will have been there every day. It's been open while we've been
true.
at the lake.
I can't wait for one of those burgers again. That was nuts. But anyway, so Tom's Cafe, and Tom, I mean, Tim described to me as a great character.
He'll probably be
didn't really know
one of the next guests on the pod. So.
But he is a really beautiful human. Beside all that, like, he's such a genuine, caring guy, and also great chit chat. Like, he's really up for all types of chit chat as well.
It's the hippie nature, like, often you're excluded from, because even though the hippie's free, blah, 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 they're not free in their chat. Like, they're kind of too serious.
But hippie isn't no judgment, which is what it's like, oh no, love's no judgment. It's no, you got to love this way.
Yeah.
And like free love is actually this kind of love, you know? So there is judgment where Tom's literally he's like just so chill.
It's time for literally everyone.
And he creates that vibe of extreme chill at that cafe, and we're just like slumping on couches, just chatting to him. So like I feel like I'm starting to get in the hippie mood. There's this like the toilet,
but
like it's kind of the toilet's kind of see through, like, you know, like, like there's just like really hippie characters there, like just like little pixie daisies and all that kind of stuff, and so then
very feminine energy.
Very super feminine, and especially coming from our what I think is a masculine trip of boys kind of energy.
Venezuela,
Guyana, adventure, like let's conquer this, that. And now it's just like, whoa, like.
And we were really yearning for it, especially in the village. We were like,
I think we were. I think it was a great, like, I don't know, like jump to that side of the spectrum. Yeah. So then we go to the ecstatic dance. And you guys have been hyping it up to me a lot. You guys have been saying this is like hippie church. I was thinking about it. And honestly, look, being there, I get the hippie church thing. For me, I really just felt hippie club.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like just like people are dancing and stuff and people are letting free. And like, I feel like it, or what it seemed to me is like lost souls are trying to find themselves in what feels like radical group acceptance. So like
radical is an important word there.
Yeah. So people are dancing in all wild, flowy moods, and we're all into it too. And like everyone, like people are like, you know, just like on a sensually like touching each other, and like there's this one people in the corner.
Oh yeah, that was wild. That was
And
fully having
they
sex with
weren't.
clothes
Yeah,
on.
they weren't just saying that was sex with clothes on. Like I'm seeing this chick throw her head back, like
Literally
grinding.
grinding,
I was
like
like-
going up, like full on the ground.
I was like, well, like I
was like,
you
that-
could have just gone home, or you
Yeah.
could have just gone into like the sex.
I'm pretty sure
pit.
they didn't end up with each other the other night.
I reckon that would be a rogue move if not.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's how shit.
But anyways,
Anyway,
it's a, and I think someone described it to you. It's a sensual experience, not a sexual experience.
Yep.
So it's very touchy feely. I mean,
If you
if I was in that zone, I'd be thinking
if you wanted to
nothing
be
but
like that,
sex.
not everyone in the dance is like doing that. Like there's some people minding their own business, and that was definitely us.
Everyone quite literally is running their own race
Yeah.
there. But yeah, so
But you're still kind of, even if you're minding your own business, you're like feeding off the like energy of other people not giving a shit and like
yeah,
getting into it, which is, I reckon,
well, that's what I was saying. Like that radical acceptance, quite clearly there was this strong undercurrent of other people's acceptance, and once you step into that circle, it feels like you can also like let that go, or like become a part of that and just dance like a crazy person, you know. And it feels good, and it feels like you're letting it out, and it is kind of beautiful. Especially like in my mind, like typical Australian festival is like this like techno party that to get that same kind of level of feeling accepted, you either have to be 15 deep drinking alcohol, or you have to be smashing acid or smashing MDMA or whatever to feel that kind of acceptance, or to feel you're kind of that part.
or to overcome the kind of fear of judgment from.
And I think
around
that's
you.
what a lot of drugs really is. Like, there's so many other parts to drugs for sure, but overcoming judgment is one part of it. Especially when everyone else around you is doing those drugs too, because then you can feel that off them as well. But
Or like escaping your own judgment of yourself as well.
yeah,
and that's why the ecstatic dance is. I always used it as a tool, similar to open mic, which we will go into when you experienced a bit of what I was talking about as well.
yeah.
It's like when I first went to this ecstatic dance, I was like, oh, I am uncomfortable here. This is not, because the rules are like, you don't have phones, you're not supposed to be under the influence of anything, right? So it's like, oh my God, you dropped into a festival for a few hours, into like the middle third day of a festival where everyone's gacked out of their fucking mind. Yet everyone's actually completely sober. So to get yourself to that same position, it's really good to train that, I think, and be able to do that. So you don't rely on, again, getting gacked out of your fucking mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always used it. I always went as much as I could, simply to try to unlock more and more within myself. I never found it too necessary to get into that sensual, not sexual side of it. That's just me, as the undiagnosed Christian, I suppose. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then there was a ceremony there. We met some cool people, had some good chats. But still got the vibe of I felt the lostness, or not just lostness. Like it felt like, I think everyone's like searching, or lots of people are searching for things, especially in this day and age where like there's not like, I don't know, immediate purpose that's in front of a lot of people. There's lots of choices and all that kind of stuff. It felt like this was more just on a platter as opposed to like hidden.
This is very loud and
It's louder.
ungrounded. It doesn't have centuries of foundation.
Yeah.
It's kind of new, and therefore, someone told me Lake Atitlan, there's plenty of places like it, usually foreign, exotic, touristy places. The people who are attracted there long term could almost always be classified as lost puppies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, kind of, and you can judge that as like, oh, that's brutal. And in some sense it is, but it's also like, there's nothing wrong with being a lost puppy.
Yeah.
If you're not hurting anyone and getting rabies and fucking biting people and infecting them,
True.
Yeah.
But no, it was good.
Also, we've been doing at the lake. We've had a few chill days. Bless you. What did we do
thank
Monday?
you.
I can't even remember what we did Monday.
I think we went to the cliff jumping spot.
Oh, yeah, we walked to San Marcos. That was, a nice day. A bit more backpackery. Did we have beers that night?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the Liddy night.
Liddy.
Liddy.
Oh,
beers.
Liddy.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, so that
Well,
was
that's what
just
it
that
feels
was just a
like.
pretty normal backpacker day. We were in a backpacking group and
Yeah.
backpackers and having beers, and there we go.
Yeah.
Tuesday was a bit of a nothing recovery day, where we went to Pana and bought this hat, bought some op shop stuff. The op shops in Guatemala are renowned and amazing.
Some cool stuff.
And then
Bumped into Tom.
So kind of
doing
made
his
that our mission.
groceries.
Yeah, the dude stocks up the whole cafe once a week in Pana.
With massive backpacks.
Hiking backpacks and trolleys and stuff. It's
right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So we were helping him out.
Yeah. Sending a supply chain involved, food delivery service going on there. Helping him out for a few hours. And again, hours spent with that bloke are hours well spent. And then Wednesday, I woke up just
sick as a dog.
That night beforehand, and then woke up just sick as a bloody dog. Not just a head cold, but full into the chest, coughing up. I mean, you've seen it a bit right now, but it's on the bloody end of it.
And Wednesday was the big day. Wednesday was the day.
Wednesday was not a good morning to wake up.
Yeah,
exactly. Because Wednesday is like basically we're slamming 4 days into one, or at least 2 or 3. But again, I woke up just bad. So we were planning to free dive, and I was not willing to get in the water and get cold and wet and stuff. So I sort of stayed on the dock in a pimp jacket that I bought in the Packers the day before.
That's funny.
So I'm glad I did because
Looking like a sheep.
Yeah, because it was warm. It looked ridiculous.
Me and Ted get a taste of free diving at the lake.
Exactly. You got a bit of a lazy lesson.
Yeah.
And
still fantastic though.
Free diving. It's
like
free diving.
meditating. I love it.
Yeah.
And that sets the mood so well for that day in my mind. Because we're getting deep, both literally and mentally. This guy's sick, and then we go for a little bit of a taste test of things.
Mushies Send
of sorts.
Back to Tom's Cafe.
Back to Tom's.
Well, you can't source mushrooms, obviously. But yeah, we'd acquired some along the way, some chocolates, and yeah, we had a brief plan. Well, I mean, I wasn't very keen on it because I was feeling so dog shit. But brief plan of going on a little hike, taking some mushies, maybe having a meal and going on a hike.
That was the plan.
What's that? It's like a tick or something. Oh, it's just some snot.
We're still a bit sick.
So we consumed those, and
is that that's your first mushies at all?
Ever.
Really?
Ever, yeah.
I thought you said you had a party once or something.
No.
Okay, so how's yours? I mean, and it's basically your first as well, right?
No, I've done them once before, but a long time ago. So
let's go with your guys' experience because I feel like I've had
Ted,
it.
go for it.
Because
you had a disappointing last time.
Oh yeah, last time that I was at the lake with Tim, got some, and nothing much happened.
How much did you have?
I can't remember.
I think we had the same. I think we had a gram or two.
Yeah,
but they were actual mushies, and they can be stored badly, and just turn bad. These were chocolates though.
Yeah, I remember there was maybe 5 minutes of things looking a little bit weird, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time they were definitely the real deal. And yeah, although it was quite different, it was kind of just felt like smoking a joint, but being a little bit more, I guess, feeling light and energetic. And yeah, to be honest, I really did want to go out exploring, but I don't know, climb a tree or go and skinny dip in the river or something along those lines.
We ended up getting our skinny dip fix.
And it was, I mean, the cafe, it's a beautiful space, as we were saying before.
Drip.
Yeah, it's
just wipe it. That was gross.
Yeah, the cafe's in terms of built places go, probably the closest you can get to being in nature. There's flowers hanging from the roof and really nice artwork, and just a very comfy place. You can lie in a hammock, put your feet on the couch.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely did feel a bit anxious and kind of was just getting existential.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going from a place of just feeling so bad. I'm proud of like I guess meditative practices in the last few years, especially freediving being the main one, to like be able to like curtail. You know, you can't go solo. Like if it's a scale out of 10 of your mental state, you
Just
know,
accept it. And
you're not. I don't think I can even go below a 4 or a 5, right? But I was definitely there.
yeah,
Like you know,
really.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's felt terrible that
Right.
morning. And then, and again, applying all sorts of things to make sure you weren't just skydiving, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, so for me, it was going from this 4 and like, okay, I'm loving it. That's number
Yeah.
10. Whereas you were probably starting at 7, so you're at 12, 13. Like, you know, you probably need to get out of the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was vibing.
I was just
Life
vibing.
was great.
And very simple. I didn't have a lot
Yeah.
of thoughts going on.
I had lots of thoughts going on.
I said, like, not like.
Oh,
I've had closed my eyes often on mushies. I can like, you know, on the equivalent 2 grams, I've been in bed before and just closed my eyes and just been like full lucid dreaming through space, you know, fucking aliens, doing all sorts of things. Like, you know,
great.
yeah, that might have been maybe more where you were heading.
Yeah, I think maybe knocking on that door
Yeah.
a little bit, just kind of looking at your life from like a zoomed out point of view and being like, oh shit, this is a bit big and scary and like.
Any revelations willing to share? Or like insights?
I'm not sure if I'd say the point of revelations, but
No.
yeah, I mean, like maybe thinking about my life and thinking like, oh, maybe I actually am like life is big and scary for everyone, and I'm kind of heading on a path that I'm happy with enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Maybe,
would you say
I need 2 grams next time instead to.
No, but
get
we
the
took,
answers.
we had to.
I thought that was just one.
No, it's 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just a different breed of mushroom, so it wasn't. Yeah.
I
don't know.
But
Species. That's right.
yeah, I'd definitely, if I was going to do it again, definitely go out to a real kind of secluded, like nature kind of place.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was so funny mooching around Tom's Cafe. I wouldn't have wanted to be in any other social environment / cafe thing.
That was the
at
best
all.
social environment
Yeah.
to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and actually, what was the name of the girl sitting next to us? She was super
Jillian.
friendly.
Yeah.
Jan.
Mama G.
Mama J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had a
and
great chat.
Tom tucked into some as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Tom's
it was
appearance
on
was a
the-
great
on the level.
appearance.
And then so Tom comes. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna have. I'll have half a chocolate." Mate, just said it. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like tucking into a bloody shit cheap beer, and then brings out a bowl of disgusting looking rice and like drumstick that looks like it's been boiled and like knuckly and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? You're in this like beautiful naturalistic environment. There's literally like flowers, dozens of flowers dangling from the ceiling.
Yeah,
and
and
stuff.
like all the food they're like serving to customers,
It's
like
big,
beautiful,
yeah.
like
Oh, God.
colourful,
Stop
healthy.
talking about food, man.
Set up
And then
on the
here's this,
plate.
like tomato fucking sauce and chicken slop on rice.
Chicken slop on
Bone,
rice.
like
I didn't see
carcass.
this.
Oh, it's so funny, man.
Yeah.
It was so fucking funny.
Yeah, and I definitely felt like I was cryogenically
Oh yeah.
evaporating into my
Because you were in the hammock and I was on the couch and both lying down and you just don't move.
yeah, you just don't
Just
move.
think and
and, like,
talk.
just
There's a lot of giggles.
a lot of we had some good giggles.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good time. It's a good time. And people obviously
We had fun.
coming in and out and everyone had space for it and no one's getting annoyed and people just kind of giggling with us at times or just ignoring, like who cares.
Yeah.
Good times. And that kind of brings and then Roman.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
We've seen Roman twice now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on Roman? Because again, Roman will be on the pod soon enough.
Awesome bloke. Such a lovely guy.
Yeah, I think I was just saying when we left his place. So we went for a temescal, which is like a traditional Mexican, but also popular in Guatemala sauna. At his place, which is like 5 years ago, was just a slope on the side of the lake, which he's now like terraced out and made an amazing garden and built like some cool kind of treehousey cabins. And yeah, like, and also built the temescal.
Oh, he built everything himself.
Or
Every
with the
stone.
help of like locals.
Yeah,
Like
He's the project manager.
Yeah.
At the very least.
And he's been there the whole time. Like he was
Yeah.
saying, compared to some people who will just kind of like
Come and go.
like not too involved in the process, leave it all to the locals, and not necessarily always end up happy with the product because they kind of haven't put their heart into it.
Yep.
And been there to help along the way.
It's incredibly inspirational for alternate living and off the grid kind of stuff because you're in the middle of nowhere. And
He's got like solar power and like cool water system, like just running out of one of the waterfalls.
yeah.
And even better for me, I love this. So we rock up to Roman's house and then go down, and I've got no undies, right? And I'm like, I can't wait to ask Roman this question. I go, Roman, like...
You also know the answer.
No, not really, though.
Okay, really?
Like, because he's an accountant. This guy's an accountant.
Yeah, but he lives on the
Israeli
fucking,
accountant.
Yeah, but...
in the wilderness, like...
Yeah, but
not
who
the
knows what
wilderness, but-
he's comfortable with at the end of the day? And I'm like, look, how would you feel if I just went naked in the Temescal or went naked in the thing? He's like, yeah, man, do whatever you want. I'm like, fuck yeah. So in my mind, me and Ted strip ourselves nude. I think you had undies or something. So we get
Feeling
to...
pretty vulnerable all of yesterday.
So we get to do our naked swim in the lake, naked Temescal, and it was like, while on Mushies, I just felt like that was an incredible moment. Just felt very free and very natural.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, you're never feeling bad after the sauna.
No.
And oh my God, so much recounting. But the last chapter, this one big day, was open mic.
Oh yeah.
Has a private lancha, Ramos and Sons.
Yeah. Absolute expert boat driver he is.
Yeah.
Doing 180 turns within like a circumference that just eclipsed the boat by maybe 30 centimeters on each side. Like,
So good.
what?
Yeah.
Um,
So this open mic is, you described it well, it's like all the locals in Santa Cruz kind of that like it, do it, say the same jokes, say the same songs more or less.
yeah.
But it also facilitates because they're making the meat, like the main course is them. So the entree, the dessert maybe can be filled in by guests who
Yeah.
like are inspired that it's actually a thing that's going on consistently to get up and do a song.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's
really-
kind of like a locals night, which like builds that energy to encourage
Exactly.
new.
Yeah, they're definitely the nucleus, and we're the satellites.
Which is
like,
perfect because
yeah.
without that, the satellites wouldn't do anything.
It
Right?
gives it more flavour and
You wouldn't buy in; you'd be too nervous.
Yeah.
exactly.
And I remember distinctly when I first rocked up to the lake, I had this dream of freediving Atitlan, and I was buzzing with energy. Like, just, I was a very, like, not in a sensual sexual way, but I was just a very attractive person at that time, right? Like, because, like, how few people do you, like, just feed off the dream and they're sharing the dream and stuff. It was really cool. Like, the first 6 weeks, especially, was just mental, right? And connecting with everyone, loving everyone. Anyway, I had this song lined up. I've been practicing it.
Yeah.
I was like, the first open mic, I was like, okay, feeling confident as anything ever before in my life. I'm going to get up and do it.
Yeah.
I got up there, and it's like 30, 40 people. Because the last night was a pretty slow, like a small one, maybe 20, 15.
20, yeah.
But this is like pretty packed, 40 people. And I started strumming, and I couldn't quite, the guitar's a bit bigger than the one I've been practicing.
Yeah, it was
on.
big.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
And then, like, maybe
yeah.
the K-fro was on wrong or something, and then, I'm like stuffing up where my finger chords are going, and
Yeah.
basically 2 lines in, I forgot the words to this new
Oh,
song
did
because I've
you?
been practicing it for a few days. I was like, oh, and then I was like, hang on, and then I reset and did the Everybody I Am Australian song because that's the one I just knew I could belt out every day of the week. But even now, I was like sweating, nervous, whatever.
Felt bit humbled.
I was so humbled. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, that is way different.
Mm-hmm.
There were factors involved there and variables that I did not appreciate beforehand. I need to now do this over and over again and put in the reps until that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I did the same song 30, 40 times, and got up there every single week.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw, maybe not to the same extent, but I saw a bit of that in you,
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was definitely nervous getting up. Or more so, I felt shit because I started feeling a bit sick too. And it's like my voice was going.
Yeah.
And like, I felt confident relying on my voice over the guitar that I could just sing this out.
Yeah.
I was like, well, fuck, now I can't. So like, I kind of have to nail this, and I'm probably not going to because I always stuff up the chords. So
funny.
and I wanted to sing a song that everyone got around, not just something that I was good at singing, because then again, I couldn't rely on the vocal shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I played the song and I was like, I was like shaking a little bit in my leg. I was like jumping on, like, oh, like, stop.
Being such a confident bloke though.
Yeah.
Dance, talking to everyone.
Yeah, I was still talking to everyone, bring up to the dance, and that I was in that, and now I'm kind of in that headspace like you. I was already thinking, where are the open mics in Melbourne?
Right.
I want to like get good at this.
Yeah.
I want to be so good. And like, I mean, when is this going to be released? Like March?
Yeah, if you like
Even later?
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to do like, I'm about to be a celebrant for my sister's wedding, and also the MC for a friend's wedding within the same week coming up.
So you need to
and they're like,
get on stages.
That's not just like 40 people. That's like 250.
Yeah.
And that's a wedding, not some
special.
Fucking wedding.
Yeah.
open mic at a random night.
So I'm just like, I'm definitely going to be nervous doing that.
Yeah.
So I need to pull. I need to get some reps. I need to get some freaking reps
I
in there.
still think you're the
somehow.
man for the job, though.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
I reckon I'll do well still, but
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be like visually shaking, because that will probably happen.
Yeah.
Because I like, once I'm like talking about, like, it'll be shaking, and then I'll be thinking about that.
Well, this is probably a great kind of like little
Taste
reality check to not be naive. Then I guess.
I think, yeah.
But
I
it
mean,
sounds like you probably
gonna
won't.
be a very
I was
different
never really nice, because I know that, because I've done public speaking before, especially at the church and all that kind of stuff in front of hundreds of people. Like, I'm not too nervous about it. All I think I need to do is just like have the evidence, which is the important thing about belief, right? If you got the evidence, then you believe in
The
yourself.
music is so different because you're singing songs, so you're expressing yourself and trying to get other people to feel that.
No, but remember, I've been practicing this song for a week. So I didn't have the evidence that I could even complete it to myself.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? But like, that's expression. Whereas if you say speech, it's like a bit less like vulnerable in some sense. Even though you're getting maybe vulnerable in the words you say, but you practice it. I don't know.
Well, in my eyes, there's so much expression when it comes to a speech, because there's body language and there's tone and there's so. Either way, that was great.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
And like highlight for me, because speaking about, I'm gonna give Ted the ignorance naivety card on the Cayman swim, but full bravery card for the fucking a cappella on open mic last night. That was insane.
What? I was so taken aback you doing that, man.
Well, I mean, there was definitely some pressure on me to sing something, and I can't fucking play guitar either. So,
but you could have like had us going up there playing guitar.
And Tim's like, I'll come, and Ted's like, no.
And I was like,
okay.
This is gonna be great.
And Ted just stands up there, phone out. He's like, and just starts belting out a tune, like with no music behind him.
So good.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a bit like awkward and uncomfortable, but like that was great for that reason as well. And I knew that was going to make me feel good. Yeah. As soon as I'd done it.
Very impressed.
Very awesome.
So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed and looking forward to singing again at the open mic tonight.
From the first ecstatic dancing, Ted just going like, to like now we're going through some more lake times and you sing a cappella open mic.
Yeah, the water has helped you flow.
It's good stuff.
It's beautiful.
All right, it's getting bloody cold.
Yeah,
I think we should
quickly
move.
say, or we probably don't need to say about the hike that we've done this morning.
No. I just want to like get some final wrap up thoughts, because this is the last last recount of this trip. Like going into it, past, present, what you'll take into the future from each person. Like, what has this trip meant? What has it done? What, like, blah, 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 that kind of thing.
I think I set out this trip to have fun, most specifically, because it's been a very serious couple of years for me. So there wasn't any like major, I wasn't really looking for major, like this trip changed me and I'm this new human. It's not really that. It's more like, I actually just want to enjoy it. And I love spontaneity. I love traveling with like you guys, and I love side mission is the mission. And so this was just an adventure and an exploration of what I think is fun. And that's pretty much it, I think. And I've loved every bit of it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to kind of side mission is the mission, and also the expectation versus reality side of things. And sometimes, especially when you have no plan, I guess things are going like not necessarily all wrong or like not to plan all the time. And that's probably a good thing compared to like a trip where you have like really things set in stone. And like if you do fuck up some part of the trip, then there actually are bigger consequences. But yeah, I think it'll like if I can harness the lesson for back in normal life to like I guess not get too caught up and when things don't go to plan, and to like I guess try and find enjoyment. We've seen this trip like some real enjoyment has come out of what you thought might have been a shit thing to start with. Turns into a memorable experience. Just got to kind of have patience and be open to like that unexpected bad turning into something good.
Totally agree.
Perception game. Have you heard of the? This is such podcast chat. This is straight from Chris Williams and Hormozy. But have you heard of the donkey kid with a donkey little parable tale?
No, I haven't. I have a feeling this might express what I was trying to say there quite a bit more eloquently.
So, regional town. Dad buys son a donkey, right? And all the townspeople are like, oh my god, you're so lucky, that's so great, right? Then the kid's riding the donkey and he falls off and breaks his leg. And the townspeople are like, oh my god, that's so bad, that sucks. Oh, and the dad says, yeah, it is great that I bought him a donkey, maybe. Right? Yep. And then the kid falls off and breaks his leg and it's like, oh my god, that sucks. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And then the army rolls into town, they're going to war, they're conscripting all the young kids, and he can't go because he's got a broken leg. And they're like, oh my god, that's so great. And he's like, maybe. And the point is, like, it's just perception, right? Things just happen. And we'll try and play God, in time, space, if you say this is good or definitively bad.
Yeah.
So it's really like, things are just things and happening.
Yeah.
And then it's that internal, very hard to do in reality, but that internal perception clock and managing that.
Yeah.
Because you really can never judge anything as good or bad until the story's done, which is your deathbed when you die. Then you can track, oh, this was good because it led me here. Oh, this felt bad in the moment, but it led me here. Like, you can never judge until you're dead. So if you feel like it's bad now, don't worry, because it could be the best thing ever, right? And even if it is really bad, you can't judge that till you're dead, at which point you won't give a shit because you're dead. Really cool.
You know what is really interesting, a very side note? Your pupils are tiny.
Yours as well.
Oh, maybe it's
the cloud?
Altitude or who knows.
There's a lot of light up here.
It's very interesting. I thought it maybe like you still a bit of mushy pupillation.
Your eyes look very good, sir.
Thank you. And last time,
love the hat.
Mate, you also have beautiful blue eyes, both of you boys.
No, I reckon that's a good time to.
Yeah. Good time to end. Well,
cheers,
get
boys.
Down the mountain.
Thanks for the trip.
Good trip.
That's been great.
You guys still have some adventures to come, or still have some things to tick off?
I've got to just set up this couple coming over to take the freediving and see what they can do with it, and run as many podcasts as I can with these characters around the lake.
Yep. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And got a week to jaunt around some random towns in Guatemala.
Yeah.
Hopefully find some interesting markets, pretty spots. Good food.
I am so keen to get off this mountain and eat at Tom's Cafe.
We're going Shakshuka if you...
Oh.
You can go straight to something, but...
I'm just hungry.
Yeah, let's... Shakshuka sounds good. We're going to eat Tom's tonight anyway.
Let's go.
Can't, that's cold.
That was cold. Oi. You guys go. It's stiff. Was it snowing or spitting? What was that? Oh, the legs. Yeah.
It's like rainy a bit as well. It's fully coming in.
Ooh, is that? Bang.
Can't wait to start walking.
Yeah.
And it be downhill.
Mm-hmm.